All right, chat. Welcome on in. It is me, the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA, and we are live. We are live once again. How is everybody doing today? 5696. Okay, cool. Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. We've got a lot of good news this morning, a lot of positive vibes. The surges are continuing. It's starting to appear that maybe both Nithya and Steyer may have a shot. Starting to feel like Nithya might pass or be, you know, the curves are like very close. It depends on if the late votes get a little bit more Steyer and a little bit more Nithya, or if they don't. So the dumps are happening. We might actually have a Steyer Nithya late comeback. And it's something I tried to explain to Hassan yesterday, or, you know, the whole election week, which is like, California is weird. Do not react to the early returns as if they are like explanatory. Like they are oftentimes significantly wrong. We saw that last time. Like with the House of Representatives wasn't decided till way late because sub-California races. Mike from Singapore launched Operation Less Pegasus. Yeah, definitely. If the dumps save this, I'll only slightly retract my prior statements on California being spiritually Albertan. Yeah, the takes are fucking terrible. Politico interviewed Hassan. I didn't check the fucking news content suggestion section today when I woke up. God damn it. I should have done that. What was I thinking on the Discord? How is everybody's vibes, right? Like, I'm sorry that we've had to like put our foot down on a few things lately because I need you guys not to be stupid. I really need you guys not to be stupid. I want us to realize basic math, right? And I care about who controls government of the United States of America, and it matters, especially when we have candidates that have good policies that are running. You know, it is. What are my thoughts on Steyer? The guy would actually sign a bunch of bills. Like every other candidate would be in the pocket of corporate America. It would be a horrible anti-leftist. Whereas Steyer would at least try to like. He wants to be liked. He's not in this for money. So he'll try to feed red meat to the base. The problem is people don't like billionaires more than they have common sense about who's actually going to hurt other billionaires. Disciplining your community is good streamer etiquette. I mean, I don't know. It's making me dislike a lot of people, which is bad for me in the long run. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of content creators that I had good vibes with, but now I look at them and I'm just like, why are you even talking about politics? Like, you don't seem to have even like a basic understanding of reality or anything. Like, why do you even pay attention to it? It's embarrassing. And I don't know how, you know, and they're the ones that are driving us to, you know, having a conflict, because it's like, listen, you want to be a weirdo ultra, that's fine. But when you try to interfere in our actual work, you know, I think it really started with the Zoran campaign for me. Where it really started was with me was the Zoran campaign. Like, if you couldn't get behind the Zoran campaign, like, you're fucking stupid. And notice that Zoran wasn't good enough. You know, notice that no one's ever good enough. It's very fucking weird. I think, let's talk about this. Let's look at this. I want to show you guys something here, right? Here is the map of the Senate, of the United States Senate. Right now, there are 4 toss-ups, 2 leaning Democrat, 1 likely Democrat, and 9 safe Democrat, right? The Republicans have 50. If we win the race in North Carolina, which would be a flip. If we win the race in Maine, which would be a flip. If we win the race in Ohio, which would be a flip. And we hold Michigan, we still don't have the Senate. The Republicans still control the Senate. We'd also have to win Texas or Iowa. Do you understand? Or Montana. Like, do you get it? Do you get it? That we have to flip us 2 seats, 1 in a deep red state? And that's not even enough. We'd have to also or flip, you know, Alaska, right? Like, this is math. And if we don't do this, the Republicans can do whatever the fuck they want to the courts. You understand that? They can keep putting in the most insane fascist fucks in all the judiciary. which makes our job even harder. Why are blue wave year Senate maps dog shit? Because states are stupid as fuck. And the Republicans have advantage on extremely small states, so they get a whole bunch of free seats. Meanwhile, the Democrat population is concentrated in only a few states. So in order for the Democrats to control, they have to win every state that is even plausible. And if we want to have and this is if you want to do anything, literally anything, we've got to win everything. And you know what? In general, most of these candidates, you don't see me talking about Talrico because I don't like the guy. But do you see me trashing him? Do you see me spending my time trashing the guy? Because I could trash him all fucking day. The reason why I'm not is because he would be a vote on keeping the Republicans out of control of the fucking Senate. It's actually that simple. And if we ever want to do anything that's not America invading Latin American countries, we have to win everything. And it is, I'm saying we, because I mean the world. Like the entire world is dependent upon swing voters in Ohio and Texas and Iowa. We also need Steyer in the top 2 to help the California redistricting effort. Absolutely. How are you sure Fetterman won't switch parties if the Dems get to 51? That very well might happen. So we probably need to win the Iowa Senate race as well as the Texas Senate race. Like we probably need this. We're not winning Iowa. Actually, the Iowa numbers are looking pretty good. I think you guys, I gotta be honest, I think a lot of the rad lib brainworm is making you dumber. Unironically, the rad lib brainworm where everybody's like white people are bad actually is making you fall into the traps of the fucking the right wing. You need to think a little bit better than that, man. Like the best senator in the country is in one of the whitest states. Like people are more complicated than their race. It's fucking stupid. like the in-pool rad lib bullshit. Like it's supposed to be something we joke about, not something you seriously believe. Like Jesus. Mike, I have family who live in Maine. They're regular lives, but they also don't know how to defend Platter to their neighbors who are stupidly influenced by muckraking news. I mean, there are a lot of Republicans in Maine, and it is what it is. There are going to some people that are just Republican. Did you see the campaign ending rumor about Plattner was that he dated a right winger 12 years ago? Okay. What do I say of the likelihood of us accomplishing this outcome? We need every single person who's left of center to join in lockstep. I would give this somewhere around a 25% chance, actually. I think that the Republicans have put up really bad candidates. Really, really bad candidates that are personally very weak. Like Texas, I mean, I'm not a Talrico fan, but I think he's inoffensive, and I think Texans are kind of united about him, and I think he's better than Beto. And I think that he's running against probably one of the most corrupt politicians in American history, who's kind of a sex creep. I think he's got a shot. Iowa, I don't know. I think Iowa whites are not vibing with Trump. I think Iowa might be in play if with a big enough wave. It is what it is. Like Jasmine, Israel, Crockett on Plattner. Republicans are ruthless and chaos agents. There's a specific type they like to prop up. Just watch. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Literally doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. Again, it is. They're using innuendo because they don't have anything. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Warnock and Ossoff won in Georgia because they were able to paint the Republicans as corrupt, which really swung votes. I think Talrico could do this to Paxton. I think there is a lot of reasons to believe we have a good shot, but we really need to run the fucking table. You know what I mean? We have to win in Republican territory, and then in 2028, 2027, right? We will have who's running? I think it'll be who will be at 2028. It should be okay, it's Fetterman's re-elect, so we have to get rid of him. Wisconsin, North Carolina, there's another Iowa seat. There's probably going to be, and there's another Ohio race, there'll be I don't know about Florida. I think Florida's just a lost cause personally, but I think they just like Trump in Florida. But there's a couple seats in 2028 that we could swing, But we need to win everything. And when I say we, I mean the non-fascist wing of America, the entire broad popular front. And because we're not ready for a revolution. Guys, I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't prepare But there isn't any kind of organ to resist the state in America today. Anybody arguing in those terms is literally a child. Hannity talked about Hassan. Oh my God. I think for me, like, in general, the thing that I would say is, like, we need to take as much power away from the Republicans as we can, because the Democrats are obviously a weak and feckless party. This was so fucking cringe that I was going to quote tweet it, but I have to show it to you because it is like Zoran's political energy in a nutshell.
New York, we know anything's possible with a great team.
I'm Brad Lander, and I'll block billionaires from buying our elections.
I'm Maria Elisa Avila Chevalier, and I'll defend New York by abolishing ICE.
I'm Claire Valdez, and I'll stand up against bad landlords and greedy corporations.
Get out and vote. This is the team. This is our year.
I'm Brad Lander.
I'm Claire Valdez.
I'm Maria Elisa Avila Chevalier, and
we approve this message.
Like, this is so smart for a variety of reasons. One, it's cheaper. It's a cheaper ad because everybody's in it. You are like, Zoran's popular. People trust him. You get to endorse. It grows his power. Like, this is a correct way of it's a coordinated campaign. It's not, I mean, it's a little cringe, but I like it. I mean, I'm just not a Brad Lander supporter. Like, I don't like Brad Lander. I think Brad Lander is going to be a huge pain in the ass coming in the future, but it is what it is. Like, you know, it's fine. Like, I could already see the annoying Brad Lander behavior. You know, like I'm casting I have the, like, fucking golden path that I could see. He's gonna turn into a stumbling block, but it is what it is. Okay, he's better than Goldman, I guess. First ads are usually tame. We don't have any time left, man. It's like next week. He bent the knee. No, is that not what we want? He's like the United Kingdom in the Allies, which is, I guess, technically they're on our side. I guess they're doing some stuff, but right after the war ends, they're gonna be like, we should nuke Moscow. He's the Biden to the others Obama, dork maxing to make white people comfortable. I mean, okay. I mean, listen, again, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. It is what it is. Britain had massive manufacturing power in the war. Massive, they say. Massive, they say. Do you think Chuck Schumer will be a leader if we win a strong majority in the Senate? It really comes down to people like Talrico, right? Like, is Talrico a supporter of Schumer or not? I'm willing to wait until Brad does a particularly big fuck up. Brad Lander sucks about 1,000 times more than Graham Plattner. All right, like, but again, he's at least bending the knee in our direction. Again, this is me saying, see, I don't like someone. I don't waste my time going after them if the alternative is dog shit and worse. And they're bending the knee all over the place. Like, what more do I fucking want? You know what I mean? Like, if you're seen as intransigent, then yes, no one's going to join your side. Like, and we don't have the majority. A lot of people on the online left act as if we live in the United Soviet Socialist Republics, and we're like trying to like, we've won the revolution. We're looking for secret reactionaries that we can uncover to, like, protect the revolution. Like, that's how like 90% of leftists look in America. And it's like, bro, they're like making your opinion illegal. Like, what are you saying? Who cares about the annoying online left that only stays online? That is such a good question. And the answer is, it's not 2016 anymore. It's 2026. Everybody's online for hours every day. Online is real life. And a lot of our movements begin from coordination online, from virality online, raising money online. Like, the online space is actually the path of the left in America and around the world. Like, the pandemic made that the reality. And so we need to have people be intelligent online. We need to have good discourse online. That's why there's so much money spent on polluting it with bots. That's why there's so much disinformation being funded by the federal government and the Israeli government, because these discourses do matter. The way people act matters. Like, it shouldn't surprise you that a lot of the most damaging voices for American electoral left are actually not American. Because I want to tell you something. The CIA and American cutouts can fund foreign reporters and foreign commentators, but they're not allowed to do it to American-based commentators. Notice that 90% of the people that are absolutely fucking trash are foreign. And it's not because I'm saying, oh, you can't be a foreign leftist or whatever. It's just the ones that absolutely seem to have no coherence whatsoever are from foreign, from especially from places like Argentina. Like really? It's very obvious. I'm 67 and my son got me hooked on you, Hassan, and denims. Based. Finally, I have a chatter as old as me. What was I saying? Oh yeah. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I need you guys, I need you to understand something. Like, this is not okay. This is one of those things where, you need to recognize that this guy is actually our enemy. Like a personal, dedicated enemy. Not just someone we have a disagreement with. And I know that sounds harsh, but it is actually reality. This guy wants to get like me and Hassan killed. And it's not a joke. It's not like haha funny. It's a reality. And he is a fucking evil rat. He's an evil fucking rat. Now, he doesn't have that power. He's fucking weak and he doesn't have any actual emotion. But that's his intent. Like he has that intent. Because he got humiliated, nobody gave a shit when he tried to go after Hassan. And when he says like, oh, I'll help the FBI go after Hassan, and it's good that Hassan got banned from the UK. And when he attacks Hamaway, who was a surgeon in Gaza, I need you to understand that is like, he was a surgeon in Gaza that as it was being attacked by the IDF. Like, it's one thing to be like, I'm not a fan of Plattner because he has a bad background. But then a guy is a surgeon in Gaza and he was trying to attack him. I mean, like, what could you say? What could you say about that? Saying this way, Zora's on the screen. Yeah, sorry. Let me bring on the clip. Does anybody have the tweet? I thought I did, but maybe I don't. I wanted to show it to you guys because it's like, it's one of those things that ends all arguments for me. This is it. Thank you so fucking much. Huge moment for American democracy in our Congress. Voices like Hamaway for New Jersey have been missing from our legislation for years. A Muslim Arab American doctor who served in the U.S. military and then volunteered in Gaza as a surgeon during the genocide. He documented a lot of the stuff that Bad Empanada and Cavernacle used to make videos. Hamaway is the guy who documented the killings of the children. He was the surgeon that was sewing up skulls and hearts. Okay, a Mehdi endorsement is how you know it's actually not a huge win for the pro-Palestine movement. Hamaway, that's what I said. Isn't that what I said? Sorry. Like, I want you to understand that this guy is a fucking rat piece of shit. He attacked the Cuba relief convoy, which I had a member of the Cuban diplomatic corps on my stream, and he said they were strongly in support of it. So the Cuban government was strongly in favor of the convoy. But isn't there someone you forgot to ask? Bad Empanada? The Gazan children whose lives were saved by Hamaway's surgical skills in Gaza during the genocide. Isn't there someone you forgot to ask? Bad Empanada, white man from Argentina. This is not like, oh yeah, ha ha ha, Joe, we can laugh this off. This guy's a fucking rat, and he's probably a federal agent. Not Hamaway. I'm sorry. I was Hamawi. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. They're against a guy who risked his life to treat children in Gaza as he was bombed by Israel, and he's being called a terrorist and smeared by Israel right now. Like, I mean, honestly, Fed Empanada, like, there's no movement here. If you're still a Bad Empanada fan at this point, then really there's nothing that you have, really no values whatsoever. And there's something wrong with you. Like, goddamn, what a pathetic worm. And like, here's the thing. You cannot like Mehdi Hassan. You can think Mehdi Hassan, you know, is too skeptical of China, or, you know, he hasn't spoken full-throatedly in favor of Hamas or something, and you disagree or whatever the fuck. But to make your entire life trying to shit on Mehdi Hassan right now, what can you even say? He's not Saw Gerrera. Saw Gerrera actually, you know, fought the empire. You know, he actually put his, you know, that's the Disney slop. That's how his brain, like, you can't even analogize him with fucking make-believe. And yes, Mehdi Hassan, he's to my right. But like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Mike, he's acting like a piece of shit to open people's eyes. Yeah, the surgeon who actually documented the children getting shot in the head, the guy whose testimony you made your grifter YouTube of, he's bad for the Palestinian movement, right? But you're good making YouTube videos. Has Badi Benada even raised money for Palestine? Like, what the fuck has he even done? Calling Mehdi a lib is ridiculous. He's not as left as we are, but he's definitely outside the lib mainstream. No, I agree with that. It's like Owen Jones and Mehdi Hassan. Like, I've had my disagreements with them, but they're very clearly on our side now. And I'll continue to disagree with them when they say dumb shit. But like, fixating them as some sort of enemy is honestly schizo behavior. Sorry guys, I just had to take one more moment. I saw that yesterday and I couldn't ignore it. You know, like I need you, like if people are saying, oh, I like Badi Benada, literally attacking a surgeon who was in Gaza, saved lives, literally put his life on the line for the Palestinian people. That's fucking insane.
Live from Texas, this now is the Will Cain Show, and it was a big primary night in California. Yes, Election Day was yesterday. No, California still doesn't have a final count because in a fact that could make Somalia blush, it could take up to a month to count or manufacture the votes in California. We do know Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is headed to a November runoff, but who is to join her? Spencer Pratt and Nithya Raman are battling for that second spot, and Pratt says he is ready to go.
This idea that I don't represent Democrats and Republicans and independents, anyone that's just a Los Angeles citizen that wants basic quality of life, I'll be able to show that in 5 months. Right now, the media likes to say, oh, he's this. I'm not that. I'm an Angelino who said enough is enough, and I had to step up.
By the way, he's probably not gonna. I'm pretty sure Nithya is like catching up pretty fast right now. I think the New York Times will probably be the best place. Like, I think they're gonna keep it updating, right? God, California's like, I don't like to be the type of person who goes like California bad, but California fucking terrible, dude. They do have a third world energy. Like, they really do. It is poorly fucking run. Okay, where is the there we go. The Nithya is closing in. She significantly narrowed the gap. Marks, did you see The Economist defended Hassan but called him one of Mark's most superficial disciples? I think one of the things that's really funny about Hassan in general, or Marxism in particular, is there's this kind of like way of engaging with it where yeah, it's the same results as the New York Times. It's the same exact results. Steyer has 1,019,000 votes. Like, it's literally the same. Steyer path looking narrow. It's definitely narrow. Like, Nithya is much more likely to make it than Steyer, but I would say Steyer has at least. I think that like a lot of these numbers, like if you look at Sacramento, right, 42% in, these are overwhelmingly Steyer votes that are out. Like, we got Salino County, Steyer just pulled ahead in Yolo County. Like, a lot of these numbers, like San Fran is only 47% in. Steyer's up. He's leading. He's at 33%. So double those votes, he'll gain net probably at least another from San Francisco alone. He's probably going to gain at least like another 70K net gain. Like, LA is still largely out. Steyer is about to pass Hilton there, so he's probably going to net out another probably going to net at least another 50 to 100,000 net gain over Hilton there. So that's like at least half. I don't know. It's definitely plausible, but he'll probably need to do even better than he is right now. And we'll need to see some of these areas. A lot of these areas are going to start flipping. They're going to start flipping to be purple. They're going to start flipping to be light blue, teal, or whatever. And like, Steyer is actually not doing too bad, you know? And a lot of these like rural counties, like Bianco is doing quite well. Like, Bianco is really why Steyer has a shot. Democratic dumps do keep helping Becerra. Well, Becerra's through. Becerra's going to be through. I find it very unlikely that we're in a world where it's Steyer Hilton. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Steyer Hilton's going to happen. I think it's probably that I give it like a 2% chance. Steyer Becerra I give it like probably like 25% chance. I think Nithya is a favorite. I think it's Nithya Bass. I would give Nithya like a 60% chance. So, 60% times 20%. What are we looking at, chat? 12% that both win? That sounds about right to me. Yeah, well, all we're looking for is Steyer to outperform Hilton. Most outstanding leans, heavy Dem, so Hilton will be failing. Here's the thing. Like, I think Steyer has a path. If he's able to be like Bernie-like and appeal to like low information Republicans as the outsider, and he makes his campaign a lot more about attacking people like Chuck Schumer, and if he could actually be a kind of iconoclastic, you know what I mean? Like, go after unpopular mainstream Democrats and make that be your messaging to Republican voters. Like, I would send ads all through the rural areas going, Tom Steyer will defeat Chuck Schumer. Like, that would be the way that I would campaign in general. Like, why haven't we seen a ballot initiative to establish ranked choice? I think people are starting to do that, actually. The problem is ballot initiatives, people don't vote for fucking voting changes. It's really hard to get, because they're going to spend a lot of money against that. So, you know what I mean? Like, who wants to donate a lot of money on ballot changes? Unless the party officially endorses it, which they won't, because corporate centrists benefit from the shitty system. So you would need like Obama or someone to come out and campaign for it, and he doesn't, because again, he's a corporate stooge. I think that, if it were me, if I were put in charge of the California left, we've got to attack the voting system. We've got to attack the voting system. And I'll be honest with you, repeal every single one of the get rid of the ballot initiative system, completely repeal every ballot initiative, start from scratch, because the initiative system is actually useless and terrible. I'm not a real believer in direct democracy on policy. I think it's kind of dumb.
As far as I can tell, I don't believe you've ever called for a ceasefire. And the first time you called it a genocide was when you launched this congressional. What took you so long?
Well, what's happening in Gaza is an atrocity. And we just said that we need to do everything we can to hold Israel accountable. We shouldn't be complicit in this work against this genocide. And when I get to Congress, it's something that I would lead on. People know my record. They know when I say something, I mean it. So the timing of what...
Can you elaborate more on being against direct democracy? I don't think that the best way to determine policy on things like taxes is to go like, should we raise taxes, guys, in a fucking popular vote. I think that that is a policy that requires a certain like understanding of the conditions, and it should be led by a more economically trained cohort. You know, like there should be a certain amount, like for example, the property tax system in California is dog shit, which is why they don't have any housing, because boomers never want to sell their house and they never have to pay any taxes. And land value taxes, like property taxes, actually allow land to go to a higher use. Because if let's say I have a house that is appreciated tremendous amount and I can't afford to pay the property taxes, the best thing for me to do is sell that house. I sell that fucking house, or I could borrow against the new appreciation and pay for the value of services in the area that I live. But if the property taxes never go up and I'm getting taxed on a $2 million house like it's fucking $50,000, well, my $2 million house is consuming $2 million worth of services, and I'm only paying for $50,000, which means you have to raise taxes on other people who don't have assets. So you're taxing renters, you're taxing workers, and you're protecting people who own millions of dollars of assets. It's fucking stupid.
When we come to a decision on what we want to call the atrocities that are happening in Gaza, which are a genocide, is not more important than being able to follow through on what you say. And everyone knows in my 13 years as an elected official that when I say something, I actually get it done. My word is bond, how you would say in the streets here in Brooklyn, and I'm looking forward that when I am a representative in Congress, that people will see me follow through on my word and my commitment to Gaza.
As far as I can tell, I don't believe you've ever...
This was such a good example of why it's so important that Claire wins. Claire wins, like, because this guy, he's a Warrenite, and he said he's gonna vote for Hakeem Jeffries for speaker. He's a fucking loser. He's an absolute fucking loser. And if he was the rep, that would be a huge fucking L. Like an absolutely... that would actually ruin my summer if he won. To be honest with you. It would absolutely ruin my summer. So Claire needs your help. She's leading, but it's close. Apparently this guy hates me. That's weird. That's so weird. I'm gonna unblock this guy. I'm sure it was me yelling about. I understand exactly who this was. My guess is this was me yelling about Kamala Harris. That's weird. Maybe maybe he got caught up in some sort of block spree. That's weird. I don't usually block people that like Claire. That would be weird. He's a Brooklyn machine politician. Yeah, exactly. I hope. Wait, did he say he hope he wins? Wait, did I miss something? Wait, no, he's posting Claire. He's Claire posting. This guy seems fine. Some people, there was a certain type of the DSA right that got mad at me for being so viciously anti-Kamala Harris, which I would just say, get fucked. Oh, yeah, I don't know what that was. Maybe Vosh fan? I don't know what that was. Would you have blocked that guy? It was a real Shawshank Redemption. I'm South Asian. So true. So true. I don't know. Some people, how do I put this? Some people get mad at you for being popular. It's a very, and I'm not trying to say that I'm like the most popular guy in the world. I'm definitely not. I'm a micro celebrity of socialist content creator. But some people, they have 500 followers, so they get mad that you have 50,000. And so they just snark at you. And it's not really based in anything. You know what I mean? It is weird. Mike, your haters are your waiters. Oh, definitely. I had door knocking from the Claires, but Williamsburg, especially the Latin community, most likely will vote for him. I don't see anything promoting her. I hope she wins too. Yeah, it's going to be close. Mike, so much is happening in Latin America and no one is talking about it. Feels like Twilight Zone. Well, no shit. It's all an extension of America's fascism. I mean, yeah. That's why Bad Empanada is working so hard to keep Trump in power and the Republicans in power in the Senate, because he wants to see more Latin American leftists killed. That's kind of Bad Empanada's goal. And you can see, listen, I have my disagreements with Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden was way too harsh against Cuba and Venezuela. He continued a lot of Trump's policies on those countries. But Biden, did some things against Claudia. Biden was bad. I wanted a very different perspective against Latin America. But Donald Trump is actively intervening in Latin American fascism and trying to promote it and get leftists killed. And that's why Bad Empanada is supporting Donald Trump and the Republican Party's power in the United States. He's trying to help that along. He's trying to protect Javier Milei, right? Because I don't know if they have something on him. I don't know, if he's been turned as a double agent or whatever, or as an agent. But it is what it is, right? They want a bar. Yeah. Some lawmakers are warning about the past terrorist tides. Expect to be elected to the House in November could pose a national security risk and that he should be barred from serving on certain committees. That's why it's important we win the House so that he can serve. By the way, absolute pure Islamophobic racism. And Bad Empanada is there to help it out, right? Bad Empanada is there to drive down your association and your interest in him. Bad Empanada is there to throw shit on him. All right, let's keep going. The
highly watched race for LA mayor. Only one thing appears certain, that Mayor Karen Bass will advance.
Here's my thing about Nithya. I want to be able to support her. But I don't feel like she would have a candid conversation with me, which I need. For me to support Nithya, I would need to sit down with her and have a candid conversation. And I don't think she would care enough to do so. Because I need to understand her thinking. I need to understand her rationale for the way she presents herself. Because I don't feel like she understands the moment we're in. And I need to hear why she does what she does. She did, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great.
To the November runoff. Her opponent still up in the air. Robert Kovacic is here tracking the very latest. Robert?
Kathy, this is the first time in 21 years a sitting LA mayor will not get a majority of the vote during the primary. Mayor Karen Bass has been forced into a runoff.
I feel like Nithya, there's so many things about Nithya. She joined the race late because Ray started to get some motion, right? And it was clear that a left-wing candidate, Karen Bass is weak, and there's this left-wing challenger who's gaining motion. Well, I'm better positioned than her. I'm more well-known. I would come in as a strong candidate, and then she joined super late, right? So basically, she kind of you know, Ray got blocked by some of her allies for getting the DSA endorsement early on in the process, right? And then Nithya joined at the last minute, and then they tried to reopen the endorsement process for DSA, and then that failed. And then it was like, you know, she obviously stepped on the toes of all the other DSA socialists because they endorsed Bass over her. So there's obviously some interpersonal beef going on. Like, I don't think those people are all sellouts. I think they just have a problem with the way Nithya is moving. And so when all your allies like are moving against you, even when you're a strong candidate by the numbers, it's like, what's going on? What the fuck is going on here? And then, you know, to be fair, Ray wasn't making it. If Nithya didn't enter the race, Ray would have had a completely different campaign. Nithya basically sucked up all the emotion among the like left-wing reformists in LA. And Ray wasn't able to gain, like she sucked all the oxygen out of the air. Like, that's just true. Now, again, politics isn't beanbag. You know, nobody's entitled to anything. So it is what it is. You know, everyone has the right to run. Now, that being said, and if you get less votes than someone else, you never have the right to say that they should have dropped out for you. Okay? Like, I'm sorry, you don't. You don't have the right to go, oh, you're much more popular than me. You should have dropped out, so I would have won. That's no. Now, that I'm gonna say this. I'm a Ray supporter. And I hope Ray is not too embittered from this experience. And I hope Ray immediately starts working for something else and starts lining things up, keeps working in DSA, you know, focuses on herself, but also gets more involved, builds up her reputation. Maybe we can run her for state legislature or Congress or something. I think that would be real. I think that would be a good seasoning position for her. I think running for mayor without any political experience, I have to say that running for executive positions, you know, like as your first crack at it, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan. Ray went into the race because Ray could get motion. Nithya is better known in the city. Ray voters almost ruined this race. Fuck you more. Okay, calm down. That's obviously stupid. Nithya, when she makes it through, which I believe she will need to have Ray voters behind her. You know, like, calm down. And Ray was actually gaining motion. I think she was like surging into like, I think she got a poll where she was like in pushing like mid-teens. And then Nithya announced. The bar started cheering again. And I thought Jalen was back on the screen, but it was in fact socialism. Oh, this is so cool. We need Claire to win because she's the most friendly candidate of all, and to me. Other than Oliver, we need Claire to win because she likes me the most. Can I just get my way, chat? We need Claire to win because she likes me the most. What if they kept Jungle primaries with ranked choice? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. It played immediately after the game ended. First slot W. Yeah. Speaking of Oliver, how are you feeling about that now? I think it's a tough situation. You know, I think it's a tough situation. I think he has a good shot. You know, then again, whenever you get redistricted, I feel his pain, man. I feel his pain. I ran in a district that got redistricted and I lost all of my support. Like all the areas where I had the strongest support got redistricted out for a new area that I had no contact with. So I had to like try to meet people and it sucks. Why are you so confident on Nithya will make it? The numbers seem to me that they're on track for her to make it. The numbers seem like they're on track for her to make it. Like in last time, the numbers like swung by 7% or so in some of these districts, and she's in LA, so I expect it to swing more. I think Tom Steyer is the one who's probably going to come up. If I had to guess, I bet you he comes up like 100,000 short or 150,000 short. That's like my baseline guess right now, but hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe he can pull it off. It's in the range. It's in the range. As far as Nithya, I think Nithya's actually got a good shot. I think she's down what, 6 right now? The fuck is the mayor's race? Why does this suck so much? Give me New York Times. They don't have the most important city race? Oh my god. Kill me now. I pay for this fucking newspaper. All right. Even though it's like the most fascist newspaper, it's actually one of the few One of the few newspapers that's any good. Eric Swalwell won 18,000 votes despite suspending his campaign. God, that's embarrassing. Counting ballots in California is a complex and lengthy undertaking. In Los Angeles, the choreographed process includes canines, humans, and machines. Look how many ballots they have to count. Oh my God. Why are they so bad at this? You pay for the New York Times? I'm sorry. I think it's embarrassing when Hassan clicks on like 2 or 3 major news papers that he looks at like every day and has to like block elements when he's a multimillionaire. I think that's fucking dumb. You know, like, I'm sorry. Am I being too critical here? Okay. So as you can see, Nithya is 7 points behind Pratt. 7.1% behind Pratt. I think that's in the range of being able to catch up. Honestly, I think Ray's votes are going to matter. I think Nithya is going to end up being within Ray's votes of Spencer Pratt when it's all said and done. So I think it'll be around 10K or so. Within 10K. Also, that doesn't matter at all. Like, look how many other weirdo right-winger voters, right-wing votes that could have gone to like Spencer Pratt. I don't think it's reasonable to get mad at that. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. There was a quadrillion people running. Like, Ray totally had the right. And a lot of people consolidated around Nithya. I think DSA should trade Gaza's stance and a reconciliation with Ray for an endorsement of the general if Nithya gets through. Listen, I don't have a lot of influence with Nithya people right now. But I would say, quite frankly, she should tack left, right? She should do what I said. She should appeal. She should run as the outsider. She should attack people like Chuck Schumer and run as the outsider who's going after the machine, right? But then run so it's like a dual message, like a horseshoe theory of the case, where you run as an outsider to right-leaning people. That's like what happened in Bernie 2016. Like Bernie 2016, a lot of people who hated Hillary Clinton voted for Bernie. I think that's like the strat for California. This is so funny. New York Progressive Action Network, a statewide organization with ties to Bernie Sanders, rescinded its endorsement of Adriana Espaillat and is backing Daria Liza for New York's 13 instead over disagreements over AIPAC and Gaza. Didn't this group just yell at Zoran? I thought they just yelled at Zoran like 2 days ago. I'm going to find this funny. This is a very long link.
And I will tell you, this is in 10, 15 years, this is going to be completely obvious. Like what we're watching right now are the vestiges of people who did not grow up with this. I will tell you, like, when I got married, there were no smartphones. There was no like apps for dating, none of that. You could date online, but that was like, there was a huge stigma associated. After I got divorced and I was single and, dating around, there were occasions where I would get pictures and I'm like, what is going on? I had no idea what was going on. And it's because I'm old. Like, it just wasn't something that like, there wasn't on the table. But for younger people, it's just part of it. It's just not that big of a deal. And the whole, this whole dichotomy between like old people like me, my age, and younger people in terms of like growing up with essentially an archive of your life, like the Truman Show. We didn't have that. There's stuff, I'm sure, in my, when I was in junior high that I am not proud of. John Benjamin has told lies and, exaggerated these, probably in public, but most of those are lies. But we'll never know because there's no video of it. But today, you screw up and there's video of it. And it's really just a question of like, I don't know. We will develop protocols for this where this won't be an issue.
The thing is, though, for those of us who are normal and have had sex lives, there is a large growing population of people, especially in Gen Z, that have no sex life at all. The rate of never having had sex of any kind is massively increasing, okay? And it's a generational gap between millennial and Gen Z. Millennials danced at the club. Gen Z doesn't. Like, there is a legitimate difference between the generations. And like, part of the way that people are mentally coping with the fact that they never fuck is by saying it's because their standards are too high. That's why you're seeing a proliferation of like My standards are just too high content because it's mental cope for being a fucking loser. Now, you're not just, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's your fault that you're a loser, but the conditions, the material conditions have changed so much that people are just not dating as much. They're not spending as much time in the presence of other people. They're not having as many of what we call chance encounters, right? And chance encounters include like you going to the grocery store, you going to the bar, you going to a local restaurant for takeout, you walking around in the park, you going to, like there's less of those instances where you're just chilling outside and somebody else is chilling outside and you just strike up a conversation and give each other your number. Like that shit's going down. Like the amount of like legitimate human connections is going down. The rate is going down. So that's why like when you order DoorDash, you're not just paying extra, you're losing socialization. When you get up and take a shower and walk outside and go to your local restaurant and sit down at the bar, strike up a conversation with the people sitting around you, that is increasing your social universe and the odds of you finding someone that you actually mesh with. When you sit at home and you have a filter on like age and height that's more narrow than you probably should have, or higher expectations than you probably should have, and when you reduce people down to how good they are at writing profiles and taking pictures and text chatting, you are limiting, you are creating an environment that is not actually reflective of you finding a good partner. And like a lot of this is a truth nuke, and I don't know, I don't think changing your filters on the apps either. Like the way the apps are designed, they're not designed around you finding a partner. They're designed around you using the app more and becoming a premium subscriber. They're actually incentivized if you don't form a long-term relationship, because that's when you delete the app and cancel your subscription. Like, so we're now living in a world where the matchmaking apps are incentivized if we don't make a match. You know what I mean? Like, no wonder everything sucks. I've gone to bars, they're terrible. Better to connect with intentionality rather than randomly. I think that one of the things that I disagree more about is the idea that it's best to connect with people based off of a cold description of their biological or biographical details, their demographics, their marketing profile, which is basically what dating apps are. And again, I'm not saying don't ever use a dating app. I'm just saying that that's what it is. It's making you think of your partner as a product to be consumed. It's an inherently objectifying, dehumanizing approach. Not saying that you can't form legitimate human connections from flawed beginnings, but what I'm saying is society-wide, we're seeing the consequences, and it's not looking good. All apps devolve into hookup apps anyway. Hinge and Bumble, at least in my area, have become the same as Tinder. At least with Grindr, it's upfront about what it is. Thank you for pointing this out. I felt this for a long time. I mean, like the idea, like one of the funniest things, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, Mike is a short king, therefore he's insecure. But I do think it's funny how many people will say, like, I want to date someone who's 6 foot. And that's such a funny, arbitrarily dumb thing to say because, I mean, yeah, I'm sure you prefer people that are taller. Being taller is generally considered to be more attractive. The idea that you want to not see anybody who's not 6 foot, that's funny to me. That's like legitimately funny. You're 5'3". You're below average height for a woman. Like, what are you saying? What are you doing? Mike, you're mad. Mike was short. I'm literally not. I have like, my life is literally perfect, dude. My life is literally perfect. I'm living the dream. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on. What's wrong with being 5'3", Mr. Average Height? I'm saying that it's weird to be 5'3" and then going like, I want people that are a foot taller than me only. Like, that's fucking weird. The irony is that tall women generally have less strict height requirements. Yes, I know. I promise outside of first impression, your personality and vibes are what's going to make you as sexy to your partner, not your looks. Of course. I mean, listen, all I'm trying to say is that society is being hollowed out in a lot of important ways. And this is just one of the many ways that our brains have been damaged by algos. People have lost the enjoyment of surprise. You have no idea what the short king or tall queen, the emperor completely changed your perception. Oh, exactly. even for millennials who are online a lot and didn't go to the bars and clubs, we had access to things like message board for shared interests to meet people digitally. With centralization, that's largely gone away. It's a lot harder to make a connection to an individual on Twitter versus meeting someone on a web forum for the same niche hobby you have. How do you fight against it? I have no idea, man. I have no idea, man. I'm kind of like, I'm stuck because I don't know the answer to these questions. You know, I'm just observing. This is something where I don't think I have a good answer on. You know, I would say, you know, I have advice I could give you as a person, which is just go out more. But it's advice that even I'm not going out as much as I used to. Go outside, do the things you could enjoy, get ready to be feeling embarrassed from time to time. You know, be prepared for the possibility of going viral for being cringe. As somebody who's as bad, I've gone viral for being cringe, and it literally did not affect me whatsoever. Your worst nightmare literally does not matter. No one cares. Literally no one cares. Like, it literally does not matter. And my life is fucking perfect. And I would tell you more, but only it's bad etiquette because, honestly, I am not a fan of overexposure. I don't think overexposure as a streamer is a good way to live your life. I think you should live honestly and authentically within the realm that you'd agreed to expose, but that people should not feel entitled to your private space because it causes them to act in unhealthy ways. I saw something online kind of related to this. People complaining about children seeing adults scantily clad at pride parades. Oh yeah, that's the standard pride discourse.
I don't know. We will develop protocols for this.
Is Mike's mic quiet? Yeah. People have been telling me that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what. I think there is something that's breaking in my setup. I might need to like get a brand new setup, like audio setup.
This won't be an issue. Brian's corpse nude selfie. You got to reciprocate, Sam, when you get a photo.
Never.
No, I just not.
He's still exploring a Senate run.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll see. I mean, look, there could be other stuff that drops about Plattner, but I don't know that there's really going to be anything that drops about Plattner that is going to suggest anything that really speaks to his ability as a senator, or like, at the end of the day, like where his politics are.
People have actual problems.
Chris Burdick, Sam, we know there were no dating apps when you grew up. We've all seen Fiddler on the Roof.
All right. What was I saying? Let's move on. Let's talk about this shit more. We have, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you this because I just think the city nerds attack on the fake rural guy is funny as fuck. And there's this type of guy who pretends to be rural, but all they do is they are a suburbanite and they live in an exurb. An exurb is just a suburb that's a little bit further away from the city that it orbits. But functionally, it's the exact same thing as a suburb, which is a barnacle hanging off the ass of an actual urban area. But they're not rural. They're not, maybe they take their four-wheelers and drive them around the woods, but that's not being a rural worker. So this entire kind of like class or identity in America is part of why our country sucks.
Address some important questions, like whether pickup truck drivers are actually more aggressive and idiotic than the average driver. What does this German word mean? What does the proliferation of these vehicles say about the urban-rural divide in this country? And that's barely even the tip of the rapidly melting iceberg. If you thought I was done talking about pickup trucks on this channel, well, you're sadly mistaken. Let's set some context for those of you who are not up to speed on this whole saga. Way back in February 2022, when this channel was just starting out, I made a video about the insanity of pickup trucks, their ever-increasing size, the way they're marketed, the insane profit margins, the fact that they're almost always driven around empty. It wasn't my most viewed video ever, but it got, by far, the most comments and dislikes of any video I'd done to that point. So in July of that year, I went through every comment, and trust me, there were some extremely thoughtful ones, and I made a response video. I kind of assumed that would be the end of it, but that video got even more comments than the previous one and even more views. So in March 2024, I decided to go through the comments of that video and try to dig deeper into the psychology of pickup truck guys.
There are girls who are attracted to the pickup type bros. Duh. So it's peacocking? You're fucking peacocking? Is that it?
That should have been the end of it. And I remember releasing the video and kind of monitoring how it was performing. It was pretty middle of the road, so kind of figured that's the end of that. Well, recently I went back and looked, and now that video has more comments than any video I've ever done. So today we're going to look at the most entertaining, the most thought-provoking, and yes, the stupidest comments from that video, and sometimes they're all the same comment. And oh yeah, you know how I always say, keep the great
He's
talk.
basically saying the algorithm made me make this video about pickup drivers again. Sorry guys, but I'm getting that bag. And you know what? I respect it.
Suggestions coming. Well,
I enjoy making fun of this culture because it's funny. Because, you know, I come from a working class, you know, family. And my, you know, like one of my cousins is a master carpenter out in Pittsburgh. And he's not like this at all. Right. And it's hilarious. It's like the guy who like builds houses for a fucking living, who is moving around wood. He doesn't act like this. Yeah. And it's funny. It's funny to see the guys who like, what jobs do these guys even have? Car dealership owner?
It's applicable. So my general philosophy on YouTube comments is that they're not really there for me to read as much as they're there for you all to argue with each other. And how you personally decide to spend your precious days on Earth is a value judgment that only you can make. I prefer to spend as little time on it as humanly possible, but today is an exception. First, it would be pretty out of line not to look at the most upvoted comment, so here it is. Actually concedes that pickup trucks are macho and appealing. Can't even tell if they're being ironic, but they get terrible gas mileage, and then the owners complain about the cost of gasoline. Mind you, this comment is from 2 years ago, and you would think it's more relevant than ever, given what's going on with gas prices. But it seems pickup truck drivers' attitudes about the cost of living vary a lot depending on who's president. Previous installments in this series have focused on weird fixations on, like, cuckoldry and soy. I actually have an update on that. Like, this comment makes some...
I think there was actually a study done that proved that people who like conservatives searched like cuck porn more, and that like the cuckoldry shit and the like that is all like they have higher anxiety and fear in general, and like cuckoldry porn is like their way of psychosexually releasing that anxiety.
Pretty shocking claims about the phytoestrogen content of a beverage that I think has pretty broad popularity outside just pickup truck driver. Trust but verify, of course, so let's go to the peer-reviewed research. From the paper, flavonoids as phytoestrogenic components of hops and beer. Recently, interest in hops was raised due to hop prenylated flavonoids, which show extraordinary estrogen activity. There are
I always hated hops, and now I know why. I have my testosterone is too high.
Numerous health benefits associated with their wide spectrum of biological activities, including estrogenic, with potential applications of these compounds such as...
Oh, wait, they're saying it's actually good for you, though. Damn it.
An alternative to hormone replacement therapy. I'm shocked we've made it this far.
Oh, never mind. I mean, it's good. It gives you estrogen. Oh. It actually does feminize you. Oh, okay. I was misunderstanding.
The current administration without this one being wiped from the NIH.gov website. For those of you with more binary definitions of gender, just know that girls love trucks and they just can't help it. 95% chance this is from a pickup truck guy burner account. But this goes to a theme that runs through the comments on all of these videos, maybe more so this one, which is the extent to which owning an extremely large and stupid-looking vehicle is a strategy for coping with deep insecurity. People have all kinds of thoughts on this.
Well, no, I mean, it's the thing with like gun culture too, right? Like a gun is a tool. And it can be fun to shoot things. Just like throwing a bottle and watching it break is fun. You know, like there's a certain type of destructive impulse that we get a catharsis from, right? But then there's the way people kind of like fixate and obsess and stroke and collect and kind of orient their entire personality around them. And then you could see that it's like a solve for anxiety. Like in order for it's a coping mechanism for being a fear-filled, right? They're amosexuals.
Some of them are kind of amusing. A lot of them I'm not going to share because they're disgusting. And some of them just make me a little uncomfortable. Like, maybe I'm old school, but I just think this is an awkward conversation to be having with your mom. There were a lot of comments about how unnecessarily aggressive pickup truck drivers are, and it seems intuitively correct. I read about an experiment where someone set up fake animals near the side of the road to observe driver reaction, and the majority of the people who swerved to try to hit them for fun were driving big pickup trucks. Again, I had to research this one to try to find a primary source, maybe some peer-reviewed literature. Unfortunately, the source appears to be a video by YouTuber Mark Rober, which is highly entertaining, but I don't know that I'd include in my lit review. I actually didn't see anything to support the idea that pickup truck drivers are more aggressive than the average driver. There's this AAA study that says pickup truck drivers are perceived to be more aggressive, and people who
I think they're more aggressive because they're larger, they take up more space, so they're more like minor errors are more likely to cause like lane encroachment or you know what I mean? Like you're also going to take up more space in the lane, so like passing them or maneuvering around them gives you less margin of error. So they're just inherently more aggressive by existing.
Their vehicles as an extension of their personality were more likely to report high levels of aggressive driving, but it's not very definitive for my taste. But if we're going off anecdote, guy who works at the gas station says pickup truck drivers are more likely to leave their engine running while filling up and more likely to have spillages. I think they're also more likely to comment their random grievances about bikes. You guys, if you're going to come into my comments, I really need you to just lock in and stay on topic. I think I've pointed out in other videos that unless it's literally a work vehicle, there are so few times a year when you'd actually ever need all that cargo space that you're better off just renting a truck when you need it. Like for me, that's probably less than once a year, and I've definitely biked to the U-Haul store and locked up for a few hours. This is kind of a function of living in a city though. You're never really more than walking or biking distance of anything you ever need. In a way, pickup truck ownership is emblematic of a whole philosophy of life. It's the idea that anything you might need to use even once a year, you have to own that thing. Meanwhile, the rest of us suckers are out here trying to cooperate with each other and share scarce resources. Clueless city folk, talking all that ish until you gotta call a buddy to help you move a dresser.
But that's good though. It's good to have a lot of buddies that you could call to move a dresser. It's a good way to know where you stand socially. It's like good for your mental health. Go move a dresser and then grab beer and pizza and then, you know, bullshit. Like get some exercise. Like what the fuck's wrong with you? That's good.
Speaking of moving stuff, I must have had a bit about bedliners in the last video because it was a topic of discussion. When I was in my 20s, my girlfriend asked her dad if he could help us move some furniture with his huge-ass truck. He refused, insisting it would scuff the bedliner. The bedliner, my brother in Christ, the entire purpose of the bedliner is to get scuffed instead of the bed. In-law who won't lend out his truck to haul stuff, lives in a suburb and does IT work. I just feel like as a society, we've really lost the plot when it comes to moving cargo. Back in the 60s, my dad went to visit family in the old country. His grandfather just put his sheep in the back seat of his sedan when he had to move them.
I mean, like, obviously, right? Like wagons are superior to trucks anyway. But how come we don't see many wagons, right? Like, we don't see a lot of wagons because of a psychosexual, impression. Even though they're objectively better, right? Minivans are superior to SUVs. They're more efficient, get more internal space. They're less obtrusive on the road. They get better performance. But we have SUVs because it's a psychosexual thing. I mean, that's really what it is. Because people are peacocking. They're wasting resources to signal they're a certain type of like thing.
You know, if they made that an option on the Uber app, pay extra. If you haven't guessed yet, this whole comment section was an absolute goldmine, and we haven't even gotten to the best stuff yet. Consider subscribing while you're here. I really don't read YouTube comments, but I do like interacting with you all on the apps. And I always respond on my Patreon, so consider supporting there if you're enjoying the content. Not everyone enjoys the content, unfortunately. I'm 6 minuets in, and frankly, you're off to a slow start. I'm not even mad. Staying tuned in for 6 minutes just means you're the median viewer. Congratulations on being utterly average, I guess. Honestly, I'm shocked this many people make it past 30 seconds once they hear me start talking. Maybe related, person says I should probably be posting on TikToko if I want quality engagement from Pickup Truck Guy. You know, I've considered this, but short form vertical is just absolutely not in my bag. And I'm well aware that there are people who rip my content and post and monetize it over there, and that is extremely annoying. But alas, City Nerd Inc. does not have a legal department. While we're on inside baseball stuff, you might have noticed that at some point recently, a lot of the comments started including this weird hypertext with a magnifying glass, including magnifying glass. So when you see new data centers popping up in your neighborhood, just understand it's all to better the user experience. Translation algorithm, though, might not be quite dialed in yet. And there are people who will claim that I keep hitting this topic because it's some kind of infinite engagement. I've actually been assured that comments and likes and dislikes don't get factored into the algorithm. I don't get paid on a per comment basis as much as I wish it were the case. On the contrary,
nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about with the algorithm. You know, unless you have an inside look at the number, it's all like. It's S-fanding. It's like waving around sticks. It's you know, it's like a dowser. Like the way people act with the like, oh, comments definitely don't matter is one of those like things where it's like, I don't know that that's true, bro. You know, saging, you know?
Valuable brain cells every time I open the comments section. Although it might be improving my repertoire of pickup truck nicknames.
Petus for longer.
This guy even took the time to plead with his fellow truck enthusiasts to not give me the engagement. Don't dislike, don't comment, just click the don't recommend videos from this channel option and slowly back away. I actually respect the effort, but
I think one of the things about our society that needs to change is that some people need to accept that we need to disapprove of antisocial behavior. Like one of the problems with America is our libertarian or anarchist kind of like mindset of just like, well, if it doesn't affect me, then I guess it doesn't matter. And like, there's almost a disapproval of disapproving of antisocial behavior. And it's like, people almost like when somebody's antisocial and gets away with it. And I think that's a major problem that we have in our society is that they seem to think they're fucking cool for being antisocial. I guess because they did something that pissed people off and no one shot them yet. And like, that's supposed to be a flex. So, you know.
This is a bit like one moth telling all the other moths not to fly near the bug zapper thing right before they themselves fly straight in. I mean, it probably took this person over 6 minutes to think through and write this comment, which just means they're well above the 50th percentile in viewer retention. So by most metrics, psychoanalysis of Pickup Truck Guy was one of my most successful videos, but there are definitely people who just weren't having it. Fan of City Nerd, but this is petty and sort of weird in my opinion. You know, pettiness is integral to this channel's whole brand. I don't know what you think you've been watching this whole time. I'm disappointed, City Nerd, with the misleading title of the video. This was not a true psychoanalysis, etc. I expected more from. I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. You clicked on a 15-minute video expecting a deep, rigorous scientific analysis of the psychology of pickup truck guys. Have you watched YouTube before? You need to do some research about why trucks and SUVs are popular. Just a tip for those of you who can't seem to help yourselves from commenting. Any comment that starts with the words "you need to" gets skipped over immediately. It's almost always stuff I've covered in previous videos, and I honestly don't dwell on
True.
this stuff. There are just too many people who agree with what I'm.
Look at this shit. This isn't even like, look at this shit. People legitimately spend $90,000 for this. It is so stupid. God damn, is it stupid. Holy shit. Is this embarrassing?
I'm saying, and it's really gratifying when it's the pickup truck drivers themselves. I drive a truck. I understand it doesn't make sense, but I enjoy it and I can afford it. I respect your opinions, and if I'm being honest, I do agree with a lot of your points. I used to get super tired of this whole anti-truck sentiment. Then I realized I'm not the person y'all are angry. I use my truck as a freaking truck. I hate these people too. Hell yeah.
Yeah, they're fucking LARPers. Nobody argues that there's not an occasional use for this type of light duty truck, right? Where you know, like being a utility guy or a handyman or maybe a carpenter, having like, half a ton of cargo that you need to use over the course of a day, having tools, portable tools, like all that makes sense. Nobody's saying that has no use. But the way that these vehicles have become basically just for shuttling a couple bags of groceries from the suburban big box store, and they're just a gigantic waste of resources. They're inefficient. They take up space. They're dangerous for pedestrians. They're dangerous for their drivers. They don't have good crash safety. They're inefficient. They're loud. They're unattractive. Like, at the end of the day, like, it looks stupid. And you look dumb for owning one.
Who points out that consumer preferences and purchasing habits result in manufacturers building trucks that are worse at the job of being trucks. Like, this is right on target, and a couple of the most interesting comments I got delved into this a bit. Ex-car salesman here. By far, the most important thing I learned is it's much, much easier to sell the image of a truck than to talk about actual numbers and practical considerations. Images like being successful, tough, and strong work surprisingly well. And somebody submitted this extremely long comment. I'll just tease out the key pieces, but it's actually very good and well written. I actually recommend you pause and read the whole thing. Person who worked at an ad agency says, automakers have an extensive style guide specifically made for truck buyers, and boy do they demand a fair bit of coddling and hand-holding for all their advertising. Beefy fonts, masculine copywriting that suggests hard work and utility, low-angle photography that exaggerates the beefy grille of the truck, shot from 5 inches off the ground rather than eye level, requirements that models are in their 30s, fit with no beer bellies, and dressed like they're in construction. They all had to conform to a look or vibe of Caucasian, male, athletic, and very straight. Talent hired for voiceovers are cast with a slight blue-collar vibe and a rugged, manly tone. The comment goes on to talk about the much larger per-vehicle advertising budget and profit margins for pickup trucks, and how buyers are sold on all-terrain capabilities and fantasies of power, even while the owner's manual discourages off-road operation and urges caution on dangerous maneuvers like turning. As someone who is not an advertising guy, I do respect the craft, but a lot of this just seems...
I don't. I think advertising is honestly one of the worst things about capitalism, and it ruins our public spaces. And I have so much bullshit put into my face that is actually lies. And if I had my way, I would significantly constrain it. I wish that, honestly, you know what I wish? I wish we had nonprofit, independent, third-party organizations that would just critically evaluate products for durability, for quality, like for the quality of the materials, the workmanship, test them for, usability. I wish there was a neutral informational clearinghouse so I could examine all of the different products, their prices, where they're actually manufactured, whether they're just white labeling, whether they're, I wish we would supercharge Consumer Reports and basically ban advertising or severely limit it, because most of the time it's fucking garbage. Now, I understand that we do need the ability to learn new information about products or services or medications or whatever that we're not aware of, but god damn is it fucking annoying.
It's awfully cynical. I want to say people in general are smarter and more rational than ad agencies give them credit for, especially the kinds of people who comment on my videos. But then again, I'm kind of naive, and it's probably why I'm not in advertising. Life moves on. I do still hear from lots of pickup truck owners, but now it's mostly people who repent of their misguided ways. People who aren't like those other pickup truck drivers. I'm an urbanist and I drive a pickup. I'm probably one of the few urbanists with a truck. When I'm done with my workday as a Wichita lineman, I'm taking public transit. Now, you might have thought I was joking about people being repentant. On the contrary, some of these people are, I think, closet urbanists who just haven't found their. I'm a conservative Christian and a true car guy, but I've been getting into this stuff and it makes a lot of sense. It's just hard to talk about with my family and friends because they just don't see the world the same way. I just want you to know that the City Nerd community is here to support you on
your
every
transition
step of your journey towards self-actualization.
Your journey, yeah, your movement from one thing to another.
There are still people who are mad that I have opinions and they couldn't help exposing themselves to those opinions. Person who thinks I'm condescending, you're just lucky I don't verbalize half the things I'm actually and I don't want to
I mean, yeah, but some people should be condescended to. Condescension is something that should be in your toolbox. Sometimes it's good. You know, like sometimes people need to be embarrassed for being unthinking and inconsiderate. And sometimes the question, what were you thinking, is exactly what that person needs. Being forced to like verbalize what goes on in that rat's nest they call a brain is actually a good thing. Now, you don't want to use it too much. It's like salt, right? It can enhance the flavor, but it put too much in it and everything becomes unpalatable. So just, use it well calibrated.
And pickup trucks like some of my viewers do, but I also don't think it's that much to ask that people who drive big, inefficient, dangerous vehicles pay for all the externalities they're imposing on the rest of us.
So true.
In the final analysis, people are just gonna like the things they like. That's just the way the world is. But
yeah, but the reason why people like things is socially determined. If the hottest women were going up to Prius drivers and going like, oh my God, he's got a Prius. If people were like, holy shit, that guy's got 100 miles to a gallon. That guy's fucking cool as hell. Like if that was the culture we lived in, then more and more people would be doing that. Like, if being a Prius driver peacocked, then people would do it more. But like in capitalism, having the resources to waste, conspicuous consumption means that if I could just waste my money on dumbass shit, and that probably means I've got a lot of money. But if I'm perceived as very economical, it means that I'm being perceived as not having a lot, right? If I'm always like watching every cent, people perceive that as, oh, he doesn't have a lot of money. So peacocking yourself as like, oh, I have all this money and resources to waste, well, that indicates that you're more financially well-founded. And so, capitalism creates and incentivizes this culture. Also, you're not wasting money when you waste it. It's going to a capitalist. So every time you get psyoped into doing something inefficient, that means more of your money is going to capitalists. They're able to gain more from you, and you're able to get less utility out of your dollar. It's actually a sign of being psyoped by the rich.
I do think it's important to make them feel bad if the things they like are stupid. Okay, let's wrap this up. The urban-rural divide is astounding. True, but I don't really think that's what's going on here. People driving trucks in rural areas, using them for the things trucks are actually built for, isn't really even worth commenting on. What I think we're really talking about is the divide between city people who accept that they live in a city and people who come to the city but insist on doing rural cosplay. And if my comments are any indication, non-pickup driving city dwellers and pickup driving country folks are pretty united in their disdain for these people. What I'm saying is, maybe this country isn't as divided as we think, and besides, I'm always skeptical about setting up rigid dichotomies. I live in a camper that gets towed by a truck because I reject both suburban rural and urban living. Nomadic living is the way to go.
Honestly, disagree. Like, I get it. As somebody who has a flair for the nomadic, the problem is unless you're in a culture of like unless you're in a convoy living is probably based. Like having like 20 families that you travel with, that would be fucking based. But having no connection with anybody else, that like if you were like in a nomadic tribe that on the steppe, that sounds cool as hell. But like just on your own, that doesn't sound too good.
Now, that is enlightening. Stay tuned for my next video essay, Urbanism as Arbitrary Social Construct. You know, if we're really judging a person...
I dream of the day we get a good electric truck company and they make an ad that mentions 1 in 20 Dodge Ram drivers nationwide has a DUI on their record. That sounds right to me. I'm not going to check it, though.
Self-actualization by the size of the vehicle they drive, then guess what? The people who take transit every day are the ones who are attaining true enlightenment. Whether it's a state-of-the-art automated metro or a humble 40-foot bus, transit riders are out here living their best life. There's actually a streaming show that takes this idea to its logical extreme, and it's Day Pass from Not Just Bikes creator Jason Slaughter. Day Pass asks a simple question. How much can you do and how much transit can you ride with a single transit day pass in a city in 24 hours? What I love about the show is it takes an entire genre of entertainment, the travel show.
The Nebula guys, the Nebula original. Don't we just love the Nebula guys? All in all, I want to participate and support him getting the bag, making fun of truck drivers. Absolutely necessary. And like, I gotta be honest with you, chat. Like, I think in the ideal society, a family should be maxed out at 1 vehicle, maybe 2. If you have more than 2 adults, then you can get a second vehicle. But I feel like vehicles should be a heavily regulated and taxed thing. And I do think that people who drive alone should pay more. But on the other hand, we need to have solid public transportation options that are safe, on time, clean, and extensive. I just like the amount of infrastructure that's taken up by cars is so fucking obnoxious, is insane. All right, let's hop on some other stories. Let's get back into the late surge for Nithya.
Tonight, there's no decision. Votes still being tallied. Hundreds of thousands of more votes to be tallied. Now, when we left you last night, after the in-person voting had been counted, the difference between second and third place was 41,000 votes. So here are the most recent numbers. As it stands, Spencer Pratt now leading Nithya Raman by 37,300 votes. The LA City Council member narrowing the gap slightly on the former television reality star by a couple thousand votes, with the mail-in ballots now being processed. None of these 3 held events today, but NBC4 was at all of their campaigns last night. Let's start with Mayor Karen Bass. She held her watch party in Koreatown on election night. On stage, she gave a shout out to LA City Council members in attendance, including Monica Rodriguez and Council President Marquise Harris Dawson. Meantime, over in West LA, Spencer Pratt joined at a restaurant in Sawtell by Adam Carolla, Billy Bush, and Brody Jenner, among others, for a private event. But we have also confirmed LA County.
Uh-oh, chat. Uh-oh. Steyer's odds of winning are going up. Uh-oh. Steyer's chances have risen from 60% to 20% after yesterday's increase in estimated outstanding vote. Today is important with more votes expected and a clearer test of whether late mail trends shift toward him in Los Angeles. Final expected Steyer versus Hilton Martins show a clear regional split. Steyer nets votes around the Bay Area. Hilton nets votes through the Central Valley. And the Southland is close to a wash. Oh. So if you look at this, chat, the top 2 probability for Becerra is over 99%. But Steyer's range is actually quite a bit overlapping Hilton. Now, Hilton has the advantage, but Steyer is not dead. Steyer is not dead. And this is what I was trying to tell Hassan, like on election day. I was like, I wouldn't write off Steyer yet, because Bianco actually got quite a large amount of Hilton's votes. I think Bianco really overperformed what I thought he would do. And so I think that has made Steyer much more viable. And like, unironically, a lot of people, especially, I saw a kind of trend. If Steyer pulls this out, I saw a lot of late breaking people that are left wing saying they were going to vote for Steyer. There was like a kind of like growing consensus. I think Becerra, like, honestly, I think I don't know, man. I don't know. I think we've got a shot here. The question is, did Hassan have enough influence in LA to change things up? What do you guys think? On top of public transit, Seattle a few months ago opened the world's first floating bridge light rail system. Oh, this is really interesting. After tonight's votes remaining update in LA County, Vote Hub has upped expected turnout in the LA mayor race to 858,000. This would leave 333,000 voters remaining in LA City, meaning Nithya would have to win them over Pratt by 11.2%. She won today's drop by 10.4%. Ah! Oh! Count the votes! If Vote Hub expected turnout was correct and Raman kept winning drops by 10.4%, it would bring her within 2,700 votes or a 0.3% margin. Didn't I say earlier that would be about 10? Oh man, both Raman and Steyer are counting on late mail becoming more Democratic over time. So to be clear, Raman is in a stronger position. Yeah, I think she's in a very good position because I think it's going to keep going more in her direction. If Nithya was just a little bit more left-wing, man, if she had actually just been more left-wing, we could have been more excited about her. Oh, God, dude. Jesus, come on, man. She tried to do this like, I'm going to triangulate, and it just doesn't work. Wait, they banned a UFC fighter from the White House because he criticized Israel?
Did you see that Sean Strickland got banned from the White House for talking about Israel?
I'm not surprised at all. Freedom of speech is what really makes this country great. And when you can't criticize a foreign nation, come on, man, we ought to be able to criticize.
This is the like Hitler guy. That's the reason why I'm like, oh no. Do you think Donald Trump would care if somebody was an Islamophobe or a anti-black racist or a xenophobic bigot or a homophobe? They don't give a shit. But God forbid you criticize Israel. Then suddenly they figured out now they're woke. They're woke one. All right. What did I want to watch? Oh yeah. Fox News is obsessed with Hassan.
After 9/11, but keep in mind, Hamawi just appeared with. And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, President Trump's cabinet on Capitol Hill delivering what is a master class on how to deal with unhinged radical Democrats. Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, absolutely embarrassing. Several left-wing radical lawmakers. We have the highlights of that all coming up straight ahead. And later, I'll give you my take on so-called journalist Scott Pelley, who was fired by CBS News and is now free to be himself. A far-left hack in love with himself. Maybe MSDNC is next. But we begin tonight with the troubling news for the Democratic Party. Across this country, Democrats, they are now desperately counting on a very strong midterm election so they can stay relevant and not completely lose their sanity. But a big new poll from Marquette, it should serve as a dire warning to Democrats. In just 1 month, the Democrats' lead on the generic congressional ballot has been completely wiped out, a 9-point swing in favor of Republicans. The only apparent reason, Americans are now slowly learning about some of the extreme candidates the Democrats are not only running, but protecting and defending and endorsing. Now, we'll get to some big developments surrounding Graham Plattner and James Tallarico in a moment, and we'll get reaction from Pennsylvania Senator, seemingly the only Democrat with common sense left, John Fetterman, who just called Plattner a creep. And he is. But first, I want to introduce you to a congressional candidate from New Jersey's 12th district who just won last night's primary. His name is Adam Hamawi. Now, he might well be the new face of the Democratic Party, backed by AOC, the Squad. He is a devout socialist with an obsessive hatred for the world's only Jewish state. And that's not all.
Well, listen, Bad Empanada wants you to know that he got endorsed by Mehdi Hassan, which is the most important thing for why you shouldn't care about it, right? Like, who cares? Mehdi Hassan endorsed him, too. Sure, he was in Gaza performing surgery and documenting Israel's atrocities against children and risking his life, personal life. Like, his actual physical body was on the line. You know. But hey, did you guys see that his logo kind of looks like the army? AOC net favorable in Maine. Oh. Collins is super unliked.
1994, Hamawi proudly volunteered for an organization detailed, in that report. It was called the 9/11 Commission Report, as a group that, quote, covertly provided financial and other support for terrorist activity. Now, during a raid on its offices overseas, government agents, quote, uncovered weapons, letters from al-Qaeda leaders, and a photo of Osama bin Laden himself. Now, before Hamawi's involvement with that organization, he became associated with a notorious al-Qaeda operative. You might recall Andy McCarthy prosecuted this case, the blind sheikh case, who was ultimately a guy that died in prison, but not before Hamawi testified on his behalf in court. And we'll have more on that in a moment. More recently, in 2024, Hamawi volunteered at a hospital.
It's like Bad Empanada criticizes this guy, like a literal federal agent, literal CIA federal agent, literal CIA agent. And I'm going to keep pressing this. I'm going to keep pressing this point. He's a fucking Fed. He is a fucking Fed. But goddamn, is this awesome? We are so fucking winning that these smears would have been fatal a couple years ago. And now we have a committed anti-Zionist who literally went to Gaza. It's like, this guy is going to be so amazingly pro-Palestine. Like, somebody like this would have won. This is so fucking awesome. Mike, did you see the SEC got rid of the PDT rule? Hold on, let me look at this.
Gaza, just months before Israeli forces located a key Hamas tunnel system directly under the hospital building. And tonight, in a statement, Hamawi's campaign referred to reports about his alleged extremist ties gross and bigoted, and cited his military service and rescue efforts after 9/11.
So basically, everybody with a small account can now become a day trader. Amazing. That's, by the way, the reason why they're doing that is because the way that the Mercers make their money is by basically fleecing unsophisticated day traders.
Keep in mind, Hamawi just appeared with Hassan Piker. America deserved 9/11. Remember that guy? And called for the American military complex to be dismantled, along with ICE, of course. Take a look.
We are spending $1 trillion, on our defense / Department of War / Department of War crimes now. And what we need to do is spend that in healthcare and spend it in education. We need to abolish ICE. And so not only do we need to, abolish it, but we need to dismantle the DHS.
Now, the Democratic Party has never been more extreme, and it's about to get even worse. Here now with a full report, our very own Kevin Corke. We give him the, challenging assignments, examining the mindset of crazy people. But anyway, that's my commentary, not yours. Kevin, in D.C. tonight.
Great to see you, my friend. Now, Hamawi did win a crowded Democratic primary in New Jersey's 12th. He's obviously the heavy favorite to win in the general come November. But the victory, Sean, is renewing scrutiny about his past relationship with, among others, Omar Abdel Rahman, a.k.a. the Blind Sheikh. The radical cleric convicted on terrorism-related charges, whose followers, you may recall, carried out the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Now, his critics, Hamawi's, say voters deserve to know why a future lawmaker, most likely, chose to support a figure at the center of one of America's most infamous terrorism cases. Worse, he's backed by the so-called squad in Congress, adding to an increasingly troubling pattern within the Democrat Party. Here's a party, Sean, where there's an operative who allegedly volunteered with an al-Qaeda-linked group. There's also a Senate candidate in Maine, we'll talk more about him later, who allegedly had what many have described as a Nazi-inspired tattoo. Another popular Democrat, a mayor of Gotham, who has refused to attend the Israel Day parade, first time that's happened in over 60 years, and countless other examples of heated rhetoric from other Democratic lawmakers toward the Jewish state, and some have even argued seemingly sympathetic toward radical Islam. I mean, who could forget some people did something? Now, again, tonight, Hamawi's critics say voters deserve answers about how he ended up basically volunteering for this alleged extremist, and of course, what that says about him and the party backing him come this November. Now, you mentioned we did get a statement. I just want to share a very, very quick line here at the bottom. It says, this story, talking about his ties to an alleged extremist, This story originated on a designated hate group's blog. These bad faith, guilt by association attacks on Muslim and Arab candidates are nothing new in our politics. They say he's a patriot. They say he'll stay in the race. But it does say a lot about his party, seemingly so.
There's nothing more that I love about America that you get a... isn't Fox News headquartered in New York City? New York City based. Like, everything they say about America is just complete bullshit. Like, they don't want to actually live in Alabama or Kentucky or Arkansas. Can you imagine Fox News? Oh God, Fox News, locate your headquarters in West Virginia, Southern West Virginia. Come on, guys. It would be really cheap. Low taxes, low regulation. You get to breathe in that coal dust. Come on.
All right, Kevin, thank you for that very informative report. Very bad news for Democrats. They are backing the most radical and extreme candidate in California, by the way.
D+40 district, by the way.
Our friends Steve Hilton and Spencer Pratt are both advancing to the general election, barring, of course, any shenanigans from the local government. They expect to be counting votes now for days. There are 3 million uncounted votes in California. Days, not like tomorrow. How is that possible? It is yet another California and Gavin Newsom disaster. Now, in fact, in the governor's race, Republican Steve Hilton is now in the lead. And in Los Angeles, Spencer Pratt easily bested a radical far-left city councilwoman who was left in tears during last night's results. Back on the East Coast, there might be soon more tears from Maine's Democratic Senator Graham Plattner, who is now embroiled in yet another scandal. The far-left Senate candidate who once claimed his Nazi tattoo was a mistake and he had no idea what it meant, just got caught in a now-deleted social media post admiring the cool German helmets of Nazi-allied soldiers in World War II. We did reach out to his campaign for comment on the new revelation. I don't know. They haven't got back to us. It seems like someone with a deep appreciation for World War II and history would understand the significance of an SS tattoo. Now, meanwhile, after getting caught, well, bragging about cocaine use while on leave during his time in the Marines, along with, of course, the news about a sketchy, shirtless social media profile on this very sketchy website, a stated love of pleasuring himself in porta potties. Well, Graham Plattner still has his defenders all over the Democratic Party. In fact, crazy Bernie Sanders is not worried at all about his character. Just
by the way, does anybody? I think we just saw a poll drop had him up 16 with women. I don't think this is going to hurt him with women. In fact, if you talk to women, a lot of women say that this is what their ideal male body looks like. He's clearly got a lot of muscle and a little bit of body fat. This is like this isn't gonna hurt him. This is not gonna hurt him. This is like dad bod plus. Like, look at these pecs. Look at this shape, dude. Like, what? If he went on a cut, dude, he'd be fucking ripped. The helmet story, he posted, oh, cool picture in like a history Reddit. Who gives a shit? What the fuck are we saying? Like, the way that people use Reddit is they use it as like almost thoughts. They engage with it in the way the way that people engage with like these online spaces is like their thoughts. They're not filtered fucking formal expressions of your personality or your individual, like, you know what I mean? Like, the way that people try to pretend, like, as soon as somebody gets famous, everybody wants to go back in their social media as if it's like some sort of official pronouncement they made. We really need to stop with that. You know, like, it's fucking weird.
If he's devoted to socialism, statism, communism, take a look.
Are you worried about anything else coming out about him?
I don't know. All I can say is, look, I'm sure he's not a saint. And by the way, let's not forget, he has acknowledged this guy served 4 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. He went through some very bloody and horrible situations. I just think, and by the way, I've met his wife, Amy, who is a very lovely young woman. She is standing by her husband. And I think it's better for this country that we start focusing on the enormous crises facing working people, a corrupt political system, than spending so much time worrying about, the personal life of.
Now that he's an avowed communist, how could Bernie be against him? President Trump, he had a very different take. Take a look.
Now, the Democrat, Graham Plattner in Maine, is one example. That terrible.
By the way, notice that, like, guys, I'm sorry, but if you're leading on an incumbent, you're not a terrible candidate. That's just objectively not true. Like, if you're leading against an incumbent, you are objectively not terrible. You're just not. A terrible candidate is somebody who loses a race. And, like, I hate to make it that, it can't be much more obvious than that. A lot of people substitute their desires for the way they evaluate something. And it's like, no. It's like somebody who hates, what's a good example? Oh, I got one. Tom Brady. It's like all the salty fucks who would be like, Tom Brady's not a good quarterback. Tom Brady's not good. LeBron James isn't good. It's like, you're just salty as fuck. It's like, you don't like the guy. You don't like his team. Who gives a shit? He's objectively one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and one of the top playoff performers. All right. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I don't like Tom Brady personally. I think he fucking sucks as a person, as a guy. And he roasted my Steelers a number of times. But the idea that he's not good at quarterback is fucking stupid. And that's the same way these people are acting with. They don't want somebody like Graham Platter to win, so they say he's a terrible candidate. Now, from what I understand, they're going to try to drip feed these made up personal scandals, so they're not talking about affordability, healthcare, Israel and Gaza, America's foreign policy. This is a bipartisan media conspiracy because he's anti-Israel. It's really that simple. If you fall for it, you're being manipulated. You are being manipulated. And they're going to do it to every single left-winger. Every single one. Fuck, they tried to do it with Zoran's wife's messages when she was 15. Like, that, like, just get your shit together, man.
Well, he's a major sleazebag. You look at.
He's a Donald Trump says he's a sleazebag. Donald Trump says he's a sleazebag. Like, give me a fucking break, man.
Yeah, I can't imagine. But yet he's up in the polls again, Susan. But she's always down. She survives. But
they have James Tallarico in Texas. They have
I think
Tim
he's one of the
Walz.
worst. Actually, I think Tallarico. You want to know the two of them?
Now tonight there are very
Tallarico is. I mean, Donald Trump. Tallarico is worse. And like Bernie Sanders thinks about politics a lot of the same way I do, which is, who gives a shit about this personal crap? Are they going to vote for Medicare for all? Are they going to vote against the wars? It's very like the job of a politician is to vote for policies. Who's got the better policies? Can I turn up the video audio? Isn't it blasting?
Fears that Plattner, Tallarico, other radical Democrats are now running the party's apparatus from top to bottom, and nobody dare take them on, and that they are really in control of the party at this point. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for...
Okay, I'm hearing that the New York Times is going to try to publish another article about Graham Plattner, presumably from him dating a right-winger 15 years ago. A resurfaced clip of streamer Destiny shows him admitting to finding young teenagers sexually attractive while also sending and receiving photos of a 15-year-old girl. Whoa. People should know about this.
So what is the admitting to jerking off to 15-year-olds then? What is that in relation to?
I never admitted to jerking off. I think I just said like this. I think the log is something like this 15-year-old chick was trying to send me, or was sending me pictures of herself, and she was hot as fuck. It's like really hard to like turn down some of these people. I think.
Wait, how old was she?
She said she was 15.
So you did get pictures from a 15-year-old?
Not nudes though. Sorry, I should specify. I think a couple pics of her like at the beach or some shit. But
in swimwear?
Yeah.
So you're getting swimwear pics from 15-year-olds?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. This shit is fucking crazy. Shit is fucked.
Hell yeah, he said.
So when you saw a 15-year-old girl, you were sexually attracted?
Sure, yeah. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say like, oh, no 16-year-old girl has ever been hot. No, of course, there's some 15, 16-year-old chicks that are hot as fuck.
Not 16, 15.
In Steve's own words here, after you've banged more than like 3 chicks, banging hot chicks who suck in bed is not fun anymore.
So what is the admitting to jerking off?
This is the guy who's trying to promote the idea that Hassan is creepy. This is the source of these kind of things. And honestly, it's important that we strike back, right? Like, if you are always playing defense, you're losing. It's bad to always be playing defense. We need to fight fire with fire, okay? That's the reality. You have to fight back. You have to counter accuse. It's just the way the world is, because people's brains don't have a lot of horsepower. So, you know, they're very fixated on whatever they're talking about in the moment. It is what it is. Mike, I do like a good pick six, though. I mean, who doesn't? That's one of the best, most exciting plays at football. All right. Let's look at the state of play in the mayor's and the new race. All right. Do we have any more drops yet from Nithya? Oh, by the way, chat, just realized something. Knicks or Spurs? I will never, ever, ever, ever root for a Texas team. There is not one Texas team that I would ever support, ever, for any sport. Never, ever, ever supporting Texas anything. And the Knicks are just pathetic enough, and because it would be good for Zoran, because a lot of superstitious ass sports fans are going to become Zoran supporters because he won, which advances socialism. So good vibes in New York helps Zoran. So in order to critically advance socialism, I am begrudgingly supporting a New York team. And if you're like, Mike, wait a minute, that's cooking. Yes, it is cooking. New York City mayor says he's going to the Knicks game 3 at Madison Square Garden the same day as President Trump, but says he will be sitting in a very different section. Donald Trump would be fucking... I'm a Boston head, so I naturally hate anything New York, but I also want to see New York City get burnt down after the Knicks win. I'm just happy OKC floppers aren't in. What the fuck? Is it bad for 15-year-olds to date 23-year-olds? Yes, that's predatory, bro. That's very predatory and weird. A 15-year-old boy, ain't it? I saw this, and it's definitely illegal in almost every American state. Someone was talking about they were Russian, and they were explaining their Russia, and their experience as a Russian boy, and I'm like, no, bro, that you got victimized. That's fucking weird. Dara Lisa, Claire, Brad Lander. The funniest thing is Brad Lander is the strongest electoral candidate, though. Like, he's doing the best in the polls because he managed to get so much. See, he did a failed run for New York City mayor, right? And instead of being a bitch, he backed Zoran, and then bam, he ran in the next cycle, and now he's going to be a congressman. And honestly, if you were to ask me, Mike, would you rather be a congressman in a safe blue seat in New York City or New York City mayor right now in 2026? I would take congressman. I think Brad Lander got the better deal. Like, from the position from you know, personally, I'd rather be a congressman. Maybe I'm just a lazy asshole, but fuck. Can you imagine how annoying being mayor is? Can you imagine how annoying being the mayor is of New York City? Fuck, man. The fact that Zoran is still smiling shows you he's a once-in-a-generation politician. Should Ray run for Congress? Yeah, sure. You and Hassan actually called this when he endorsed Zoran, say he could use it as a future run. Actually, I did say that. I'm a Brad Lander disliker because he's a Zionist. I don't think we should tolerate even liberal Zionists who are like, oh, I believe we should not give them weapons. I don't like any Zionists. I really don't understand the point of replacing Goldman with Brad Lander, just swapping out one Zionist for another. What's the point? I mean, I really am a Brad Lander hater. I don't think I agree with this anymore. I think this is a bad post. I think this post is incorrect. Like, I'm a Brad Lander hater. Like, I legitimately am. But he's gotten better. He's actually gotten better. I just... It's not much different than what he said before. We need to be putting more pressure on the people like Brad Lander or Bernie that we are trying to chase him into these worthless rabbit holes. So true. We're talking about Zoran's campaign. Over the summer, Mamdani would confide he wasn't much impressed with Lander. Nice enough guy, but he didn't seem particularly effective as comptroller, Mamdani said. According to a person familiar with his comments, the two went weeks without talking, and though Lander would get defensive and blame overlapping post-election vacations, all his talk that he'd be the one really running the city next year had gone back to Mamdani and not gone over well. By the weekend before the election, Lander's wife was telling friends at a party that Mamdani had called to tell the comptroller he would not have a job in the administration since he wasn't getting the job he wanted. The day before the election, Lander was reaching out to major donors to solicit commitments for a congressional run against Rep. Dan Goldman, according to a person familiar with the matter. That's exactly what I thought. Wait, Mamdani agree with me about Lander? Exactly. I'm a Lander hater, as you can see. If she says Reg Zoran 1 and Lander 2, I'd be okay with that. Exactly. I am just not. Like, I didn't retweet this originally because he's in it. Like, literally. But you know what? He is what I mean, he's better. He's gotten better on the Israel positions. He's, you know, foreign arms embargo, blah, 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 blah. But he does this thing. He does this thing which a lot of like liberal Zionists do, which they're so excited to call pro-Palestinian groups anti-Semitic. He's always looking for any excuse to be like, oh, you're protesting at a synagogue that's selling stolen land. Oh, you're doing anti-Semitic. Like, they're always so eager to immediately jump and boost that shit. And I'm like, I'm over it. I'm fucking over it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Secular Talk with Kyle Kulinski. Secular Talk with Kyle Kulinski is basically it's basically, if you want to see what Kyle's going to say, just watch my stream and you can predict it.
Plattner scandal has backfired spectacularly, and the exact opposite happened as the smear merchants wanted to happen. So let me go ahead and walk you through this. First, let me show you. Senator John Fetterman goes off on Graham Plattner. Quote, "Where's P. Hustle?" I guess that was his nickname on one of the hookup apps, and so they think this is like an epic burn. He continues, "We didn't match up on Kick, so I haven't seen him yet," Fetterman says, adding that he'd love to meet him. I mean, he's a tough guy. When I was growing up, if someone had a Nazi tattoo, you pretty much assume he's a Nazi sympathizer. He expressed frustration with how I dress, you know, and this asshole is on Kick, sexting to a dozen women. So as I pointed out, as you can see here right underneath, I said, literal bloodlusting child mass murder supporter. Bro, can you believe the affairs this guy had, bro? Can you believe that, bro? Here's the most disturbing point. Everybody who's accusing Plattner of being a Nazi, they 100% know with certainty he's not a Nazi. So it is the most dishonest political attack I think I've ever seen. When you know for sure the person is not a Nazi, but you're still hurling accusations of him being a Nazi, that just means you're dishonest. That just means you're disingenuous. That just means you're full of shit. That just means you're going after the lowest common denominator, most dipshit, dumbass attacks I've ever seen in my life. That's what that is. And it also shows you they actually can't discuss the substance. And it's not a coincidence, by the way, that Donald Trump's favorite Democrat, who Trump is literally in the midst of recruiting to become a Republican, is the one who's leading the charge against Graham Plattner. That's not a fucking coincidence. Because remember, the concern a lot of people have had about Plattner is, oh, I think he's going to do an about-face and become the next Fetterman. Really? If that's the case, why does Fetterman himself fucking despise him? It's almost like he's the opposite of John Fetterman in every imaginable way. And of course, John Fetterman.
No, see, guys, it's a psyop because he's actually secretly Fetterman. So Fetterman is attacking him so that he could be a Fetterman later, and you know, they could defeat the Republicans, and then in the main, and then he'll actually flip to be a Fetterman. It's all three-dimensional chess.
Doesn't like him. The real reason John Fetterman doesn't like him is because Graham Plattner is anti-Israel, and he's anti-genocide, and he's anti-war, and all of those things. Fetterman takes the opposite position. He's pro-war, he's pro-Israel, he's pro-genocide. He's also the most pro-Trump Democrat that there is. He has more...
I mean, John Fetterman's going to switch parties. And it's, by the way, he'll then lose the Republican primary. He's going to switch parties. He'll then lose the Republican primary. Like, Republicans aren't going to like the guy. What, he's going to be anti-abortion? Like, he's going to get fucking owned. He can't speak. He's not going to be able to justify flopping on everything. He won't switch parties. He'll pull Lieberman and run independent to rat fuck the Dems. No Democrat is voting for that fucking dipshit. His approval with Democrats is zero. Anything, he'll split the vote on the right. Bro wouldn't even get, like, honest to God, if he tried to run as an independent, it would, on net, help the Democrats. He's fucking cooked.
As a Democrat, Fetterman has more kind things to say about MAGA and Trump than he does about Graham Plattner, who every time Graham opens his mouth, he's ranting against war, he's ranting against Israel, he's ranting against the billionaires, he's ranting in defense of minority communities. That's the other thing that drives me crazy is when people pretend like, because he's got like the gruff MAGA white guy aesthetic, therefore, like he's not woke enough when it comes to minority communities. He literally has it in his repertoire when he gives speeches and when he does interviews and when he does town hall events. One of his main lines is, people need to understand, minority communities are not the problem. Trans kids are not the problem. Black people, immigrants, minorities are not the problem. Muslims are not the problem. Jews are not the problem. The problem are the billionaires. He says that shit. He says it. But somehow that doesn't matter, and he's somehow like anti-woke and fucking right-wing on social issues when he's not. The only issue he is right-wing on is guns, and he fucking comes from Maine, which is like, of course somebody from Maine is going to be like that, right? But here you have Fetterman, the stroke-having, brain-not-working, fucking Zionist, Nazi freak ass.
And by the way, can I just say that Kyle is way too nice? Can I just say that Kyle is being way too kind here and that he's not, you know, I really need Kyle to move on from woke one and really become the dark woke commander. His brain is pudding. His brain is fucking pudding. And he's honestly lucky that he has young children because his wife would be out on the town if it wasn't for that. I don't think that marriage is going to last after his fucking, after his senatorial shame and defeat. One term that'll go down in history as the biggest fraud to ever hold office in Pennsylvania. He may, honestly, Bud Dwyer is a much more noble. Honestly, I think the tradition of Bud Dwyer is something that we need to look into, you know, spreading in American politics. And ultimately, like, Fetterman, I don't think he'll make another couple birthday parties because he's not the center of fucking attention. Oh no, oh my God, what if it turns out that Fetterman's wife is in Plattner's DMs? Is that the scandal? Is that the next scandal?
Going after Graham Plattner and thinking it's some epic burn that he had a sexting affair. Like, give me a fucking joke, bro. Give me a joke. Give me a break. You are a joke is a better way to say it. All right, more. So I'll also show you this. Online is not real life. Mainers don't give a shit about a candidate's private sex life.
Now, so we watched this yesterday, chat, and it's so fucking funny how little people care.
This is what I've seen too, is that online you got a million people talking about this, taking all different sorts of positions. There's a bunch of outrage. There's a bunch of anger. There's a bunch of people assuming he already lost the race, which is like crazy to me. Because it's like, you're just making that up. Like, you're literally just making that up. He's up double fucking digits. Even if he were to lose 10 points, it's like he still wins, right? So I don't know what the panicking is for. Well, I know what the panicking is for. It's like they actually want him to lose. So they're trying to will that into existence, and they want Susan Collins to win. You have the Republicans going after him, and you have the liberals who wanted Mills to win, who are so butthurt that now they won't support Plattner. They all want Susan Collins to win, even though they won't tell you that, okay? Well, listen to this. Here's a local news segment, and they explain what's actually happening in Maine.
So we're hearing directly from Mainers who are processing the latest scandal to rock Graham Plattner's Senate campaign.
That's not breaking news for any politician, to tell you the truth.
I couldn't care less, honestly.
I mean, look at our president and his track record of things that he's tweeted online or what he said about women.
Many voters in Maine tell us Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner's latest controversy will not change their vote.
Separate what somebody's doing in their personal life and the mistakes or whatever that they've done from how they run politically.
I don't think any differently about him since that story came out.
At this point, I don't think anything would shock anyone. After JFK, after Clinton, after Trump, there's been bipartisan sex scandals of all kinds.
How do you feel about Senator Susan Collins?
I think it's time that we replace her.
This is literally like across the board. Everybody's like, yeah, whatever, bro. I don't care. Hey, at least he wants to tax the rich. Like, this is what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, she's done some good, but there's some things I don't agree with, but that's me. You know, that's how I feel. Yeah. And I don't know if Graham Plattner is going to be the guy or not. I mean, I have no idea. We just have to wait and see and find out.
I'm not really too excited about that kind of thing. I mean, it's a red flag, but at the end of the day, it'll be interesting to see what his policies and take are on. What we have going on with affordability, housing, and other things all in the state.
The voters we talked to said it won't be changing their opinion of him.
The fact that he might have been sexting some people isn't indicative of how I think he would be representing me.
Some say it's a distraction.
I don't think that the DNC supported him from the beginning, and I think it's just kind of more dirty tricks.
I've spoken to dozens of voters here this morning, both on camera and off camera, and I asked them the same question. Do they think Plattner should drop out? And frankly, across the board, both Republican and Democratic voters have said they don't think he should.
Both Republican and Democratic voters are like, meh, whatever. I mean, look, it's another example of online is not real life. I mean, sometimes it feels like it is. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a mix. But like in this instance, it's a bunch of fucking babbling and nonsense. And then when you actually talk to the people who matter, they're like, are we fucking 5 years old here? Again, well,
that's because on the internet, everybody is 12. And the other thing that I found like on really disgusting, isn't it weird how everyone pretends to be stupid online? Like they pretend to believe dumb shit. They pretend to believe lies. They pretend to believe, like, care a lot about this kind of stuff because they're trying to, like, influence other people. And I'm tired of it. Can we all stop pretending to be 12? Like, intellectually? I mean, some centrists pretend to be 12 because that's what they're into. But it's just so intellectually annoying to watch. People be like, oh my God, Graham Plattner was in a sexting scandal. I used to believe in Medicare for all and stopping the war on Gaza, but now I guess I'm going to have to vote for Donald Trump's footstool, Susan Collins, who votes with him for every war and every evil judge for all time. It's like, maybe I don't think him sexting 3 years ago is going to make me suddenly decide that we need to do a genocide. It's baby shit and it's embarrassing.
Refuse to live in a world anymore where there are different standards for Democrats and Republicans. And that's what we're looking at, is different standards for Democrats and Republicans. So Trump gets to be a war criminal and a pedophile and a rapist, but Graham Plattner couldn't sex 6 adult women consensually, right? And by the way, I'm not condoning that behavior. Obviously, he should have been faithful. And like, it is to some extent a red flag, right? But having said that, what else are you going to do? Are you going to write in fucking Shaggy from Scooby-Doo? You're gonna write in Janet Mills? You're gonna fucking support Susan Collins? Like, I'm sorry, but do you believe him or do you not believe him when he says what he's about, which is anti-war, which is anti-genocide, which is pro-raising taxes on the billionaires, pro-union, pro-higher wages? I think worst case scenario, he votes like a bog standard Democrat, which is obviously 10 trillion, zillion, quadrillion times better than any MAGA cuck, which is exactly what Susan Collins is. So it's not landing, bro. The shit is not landing. But the plot thickens. Ready? Nathan Bernard. Susan Collins had a long-term affair with her current husband, marrying him in 2012 when he divorced his wife, who was dying of cancer. And then this guy right here, he is, I believe somebody said this guy's like a big journalist in Maine. Like he's a guy that's in the know. Susan Collins should be careful about throwing stones from glass houses when it comes to issues of infidelity.
Well, like actually cheating on someone, actually helping, committing an adultery against somebody who's dying of cancer, that matters less than sexting with no physical relationship. This doesn't even get reported. You don't see any New York Times articles about this shit. Why not? Because the reporter covering the main race was the co-president of Students for Israel at her college. Like, unironically, that we have a Zionist agent covering the main race for the New York Times.
It's been an open secret in Washington, D.C. for decades, but the Wall Street Journal and New York Times have never probed into it. Wonder why? And then sharing here, New York Times says, the couple met in 1974.
People called me anti-Semitic for pointing this out, by the way. I posted this. I said the New York Times journalist who wrote this hit piece and a number of other hit pieces on Plattner was co-president of her Students for Israel chapter at college. You know what she was doing prior to that? You know what her stories were prior to slandering Plattner? I want you to guess. I want you to guess what she was reporting on before Plattner. Think of all the people in America. Who would the Israel lobby once slandered? Think about all the politicians in America. Who does this Israel lobby once slandered? Plattner, AIPAC story, here. Josh Shapiro boost, story against Tom Massey, one story about Trump, another Plattner, Susan Collins, it's a benign tremor. Let's see here. Let's get before the main thing. Why? Pennsylvania's too much powerful. Democrats don't speak. Both Israel lobby candidates. I need to get back to like 2025. Oh, here we go. Democrats praise Israel-Gaza peace deal, but not Trump for forging it. October 7th anniversary arrives during heated final stretch of mayor's race. How October 7th intertwines with the mayor's race. The sprint for City Hall. Mayor Eric Adams' exit for the race may have helped Cuomo. Shapiro denouncing political violence warns Trump is inflaming tensions. It's like constant articles, like at least 70% of her articles are pro-Israel. Democratic Party scraps resolutions on Israel and Gaza after fraught debate. How Democrats lost working class voters. A Minnesota Mamdani, a race for a mayor has echoes, but only so far. Alyssa Slotkin wants Democrats to reclaim their alpha energy. Another CIA agent, pro-Israel a politician. It's like every another Shapiro one. Majority Democrats, which denounced Plattner. And it is Jake Auchincloss, which is another fucking Zionist org. Every article Mamdani's success spotlights a deepening rupture among U.S. Jews. George Floyd protests are haunting Democrats. Holocaust Museum Board clashes over silence on Trump firing. And then I think we should, I think she also did articles about the protests, right? The reporter's background was co-president of Students for Israel, helped NU students win an AIPAC award in 2009, had settler parents in Haifa, according to her New York Times wedding announcement, is a Zionist. Oh, wow. I didn't know about that. If they're leaders now, then they're the ones who will be the leaders of tomorrow. Like members of Congress, Gluck said. If we talk to them now, they are more apt to support Israel in the future. Shapiro and Gluck credit their organizing success to working with leaders from student groups. They want to educate leaders of all groups about Israel in the Middle East. They see it as the way to build future advocates, actual agents of Israel. She works in New York as a senior political correspondent for the news organization McClatchy, D.C. and Washington. She's the daughter of Miriam Gluck and Dr. Robert M. Gluck of Leadwood, Kansas. The bride's parents work in Haifa, Israel, where her father is the USA Director of Clinical Operations for the Technicon American Medical Program at Technicon Israel Institute of Technology. Like, oh my fucking God, dude. And people called me anti-Semitic for pointing that out, by the way. I'm an anti-Semite for pointing out that she's a fucking Israeli agent. Would an AIPAC endorsement make you more likely or less likely to support a candidate for Congress? Less likely 44, more likely 15. Those are rookie numbers. We gotta push those numbers up. I mean, that's as bad as it gets. Like, that is horrifyingly bad. Horrifyingly bad.
Collins was an intern in the office of Mr. Cohen, then a Maine congressman. The exact date of Thomas Daffron's divorce from his first wife, Margaret Corey, is not a matter of public record, though it occurred sometime prior to his marriage to U.S. Senator Susan Collins in August 2012. In other words, I don't want to hear it, bro. Susan Collins herself also engaged in some, infidelity where the guy literally left his wife with cancer. Like, I gotta be honest.
Yes, but guess what? Nobody gives a shit. It's almost as if nobody who's pretending to care actually cares. They're just lying. Again, they're trying to distract us from talking about the shit they don't want us to talk about, which is Susan Collins wants to give your money to Israel and Graham Plattner doesn't. That's the end of the fucking conversation.
It sounds even worse, right? I wouldn't bring it up. It wouldn't be a deal breaker if that person had good policies. But, like, again, glass house, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. You get it. Okay, more. They're getting so desperate to try to take down Plattner. Ready? New from me in the Washington Free Beacon right-wing outlet. Morris Katz, a top advisor to embattled Maine Senate candidate Graham Plattner, admitted in a 2019 blog post that he has also sent explicit material to people in the past. Quote, "I've sent nudes and I've received nudes," Katz said. Why are we talking about this? What's the scandal? Grown man sends and receives nudes consensually? Like, what are we doing here? What do you live in, like 1937 or something? Like, I got news for you. Everybody who's an adult in the year 2026, not everybody, I'll go 80% or so have sent nudes or received nudes. Like, it's just a thing that happens in the modern day and age. That's like how it works. In fact, to not have that happen at all, that's actually the weird thing. So why are we talking about this? Why are we fucking doxing this poor guy's sex life? Why is this an issue? Is that supposed to be like, nobody's ever allowed to ever send and receive nudes, even if it's consensual, even if you're adult? Like, what are we doing here, bro? Seriously, what are we doing? But this is how
the answer is they're trying to humiliate and harass everybody who's anti-Israel. It's not complicated, and you guys have to get more sophisticated about that kind of shit. You got to get more sophisticated about that kind of shit. You can't let that kind of stuff work on you. Okay? Like, you have to push back and be like, you fucking loser. You fucking weirdo. And you need to go after the people that push these kind of narratives because they're doing it in bad faith. It's harassment.
They are. By the way, somebody also just wrote a hit piece on Hassan, and the hit piece was like, hey, he jacks off and he has sex. What? Like, what are we doing? What? Of course he does. He's a grown man. So, like, grown men do shit like that. What are you talking? Oh my God. Oh my word. I'm gonna have an aneurysm live on air. So the other day, the head of the NRSC, the Senate Republicans, they say, gonna be a long day for Graham Plattner tomorrow. And you had all these liberal accounts, online liberal accounts that were like, see, we told you should have went with Mills. We told you this guy's a disaster. We told you they're going to take him down. We told you all the oppo is going to work. And they assumed that like another big story is going to come out about Plattner that like is going to destroy him, right? Well, what did the NRSC mean when they said that? Here's what happened the next day. Outside the DSCC headquarters where Plattner is meeting with Democratic senators. And it's just like a bunch of loser protesters One's
By the
holding
way,
a sign.
these are all Republican operatives. These are not like actual protesters. No one normal is doing that. These are all paid by the Republicans. You could tell because they all have the same exact GOP staffer uniform.
It says Plattner is a fraud. One says Plattner can't kick his scandals. Kick is the name of like one of the hookup sites he was on, so they think it's like, you know, they think that's a gotcha. There's a picture of his Kick profile where he's showing his he doesn't have a shirt on and he's got a towel on. This guy's dressed like that. They're calling him. They're trying to say he's a Fredo, which is literally just a flat out lie. It's just a total lie. There's no evidence for that whatsoever. And it's ironic because all of the people in this picture suck off Donald J. Trump. Suck off Donald J. Trump and are part of the party that just ousted Thomas Massie because Thomas Massie wanted to release the fucking Epstein files. Okay? I don't want to hear shit from Republicans on anything when it comes to morality, when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to ethics. You can shut the fuck up, Ski, foreverington. Okay? You understand me? You're not serious people. You're the dumbest people in the world. But this is what they meant when they said, like, Plattner's gonna have a bad day tomorrow. It's like, what, 12 idiots out there in fucking towels who are lying about him? These are the same people that were yelling at Bernie when Bernie was like, are you Republicans? No thank you. Don't need a lecture from you about morality. Bye. These are the same people that were going after Bernie. Okay. Sludge reports, the dark money groups amplifying attacks against Graham Plattner are part of a network tied to pro-Israel lobby groups, AIPAC and Foundation for Defense of Democracies. No.
Wow, I can't believe it's the NATO fucking groups and AIPAC groups. It's almost like it's the deep state. Now, again, why is there such a push to separate Graham Plattner from anti-imperialists online? Who could possibly be behind that? I am fighting back against that openly and unabashedly. I don't give a shit who doesn't like it. Eat my fucking dick. You're falling for a fucking psyop, you dumbass. Because he said we don't need to have a fucking confrontation with China. We shouldn't be funding Israel. That's why they're going after the guy.
Shit. So, of course, the Epstein-class billionaires are going to go all in trying to defeat this guy because he's going to fucking stand up to them. He's going to raise their taxes. He's going to be a real one. You also have the military-industrial complex and the Israel lobby, who, of course, is all in against him because he said we shouldn't send any money, not a penny, not a motherfucking penny, not a penny to Israel. And then finally, I'll end on this note. You have this guy, Jeremy Fassler, who I believe is a liberal. You guys are going to want to shove your head against a concrete wall when you hear this. He says, Graham Plattner is just the latest manifestation of a desire to recenter white masculinity in the Democratic Party. And he has all the same weaknesses of other avatars of masculinity consultants have thrown at voters. And the title is Graham Plattner and the Rise of Democratic Toxic Masculinity. Are we really doing this as fascism is rapidly taking over this country? Is that what we're doing? Are we actually doing this as innocent immigrants are being frog marched into concentration camps and they're being tortured and raped? Are we really doing this as Trump is protecting the Epstein-class cabal of pedophile rapists? Are we really doing this as Trump launches a new war every other week and is illegally attacking Iran and bombing schools and hospitals? Are we really doing this as Trump and his billionaire buddies loot the treasury and rob us fucking blind? Are we really doing this as we're on the brink of a fucking Great Depression because of Trump's incompetence and stupidity and mismanagement? Are we really trying to kneecap the only Democrat that can take down Susan Collins in this moment when the whole fucking control of the Senate might come down to this? And you're gonna talk about democratic toxic masculinity? Oh my word. Oh no. Oh no. I'm sorry. We left this shit back in woke 1.0. I guess you haven't got the motherfucking memo, bro. This is left back in woke 1.0. Now we're in woke 2.0. This shit is known as dark woke, meaning all the Republicans can suck my nuts from the back. That's what that means. Meaning we don't fucking police each other. Excuse me, did you just call Donald Trump fat? Because that's actually really crude and fat phobic. I don't give a fuck. He's a fat pedophile, war criminal, rapist, racist, fascist, con man. Who are we kidding? They're every negative thing in the book. I will call them every negative thing in the book. I will say that Stephen Miller is a disgusting, ugly little twerp fuck, okay? And you want to call me toxically masculine for doing it? That's your problem. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem, okay? And the fact of the matter is, most of the Democratic base are with us now, or with me now, or with the uncensored leftists who are telling the...
Well, and by the way, like, I'm sorry, I don't want to go back to woke one. I don't think anybody really wants to go there. I think the people that want us to go back to woke one are the consultant class, upper middle class, you know, college educated type people who are able to use it for their own personal gain. The guys who know how to get the jobs doing the diversity consulting that are mostly white, right? It is not really about advancing any of the causes. It's about maintaining interpersonal power and advancing your career. It is like Manna from heaven for the sociopath, striver, bounder, upper middle class, PMC shills. I don't want to go back to that. I'm not saying that we don't have intersectionality in our politics, but the behavior of woke one was fucking annoying, and it was marginalizing, and it was lifestyleism, and it was about posturing and virtue signaling in the worst type of way. And so we just need to get rid of that shit. We're woke where it matters.
Truth. See, it's just a disgusting hit piece trying to use identity politics and woke 1.0 language to take down the only hope we have of actually defeating MAGA fascism. It's a necessity to take back the Senate in order to defeat MAGA fascism. You are going to do this as opposed to, I don't know, you should write a think piece about the fascism of Susan Collins, or how she ends up helping toxic masculinity because she emboldens MAGA fascism. How about that think piece? No, you have a bone to pick because you wanted Mills to win. Mills didn't. She shit the bed. Now you're furious. The leftists got the better of you. And so your leftist derangement syndrome has overtaken your rational brain, and you're fine with shitting on the left, even if that means letting MAGA continue to run this country into a fucking ditch and destroy everything. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself. And allow me to say on the record right the fuck now, if Janet Mills had beaten Graham Plattner, I'd be fucking arguing for her like nobody's business. I'd break out my motherfucking pom-poms and be on air like, go Janet, go Janet. Why? Because we need to defeat the fascists. The fascists, the imperialists, the warmongers. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, but thank you for your contribution to the discourse. Very nice of you. Oh, look, he's gruff. He looks like a MAGA guy, even though he's the opposite of that. Therefore, he's toxically masculine, and nobody should take him seriously, and he's a bad guy. Shut the fuck up, these people. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I don't know why I'm all mad. The scandal has backfired spectacularly. I didn't even show you all of this stuff. I had like 3 or 4 more things where they spoke to voters in Maine, and virtually across the board, they're like, I don't fucking care. Lower the gas prices, bitch. And that's where we're at now. So the dirty tricks aren't working. And if anything, Democrats should be happy, because what this shows is we all marveled at the fact that whatever people threw at Trump, he ended up winning no matter what. And it was like, that's crazy. Like, how is that possible? And how come we can't mimic that Teflon ability on our side? Well, now we finally have somebody who does kind of mimic that. And all of a sudden, you don't like it. And it's like,
well, they don't like it because he is popular. That's why they don't like it, because, and this is the other thing. And it was very, like, you know, I hate to say this, but when FD Signifier kind of unlocked something in my brain, remember how he kept bringing up the Fight Consulting Company? And he tried to say that they were all white men, and he selectively cherry-picked 3 candidates, all of whom were actually relatively decent, except for Fetterman, who completely abandoned progressivism with the stroke and is a total fraud. But everyone else in the Fight Consulting group is like solidly populist left-wing candidate, pro-Medicare for all, etc., right? They've had Zoran, they had Summer Lee, etc. I realized, oh, this is a consulting company. They're worried about Fight Consulting becoming the hit consulting company for Democrats. They're worried about more populist candidates growing and winning using this model of anti-Israel left-wing populism. It's literally that venal.
I don't know. I would kind of like it if every Democratic candidate was this motherfucking Teflon. Wouldn't you? If you want to defeat MAGA, you would believe that. But maybe you don't. Maybe you don't.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, chat. Another story that oh, fuck. I just realized we are 3.5 hours in the stream, and I forgot to shill. If you guys enjoy this content, please consider supporting it by subscribing at tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 sub. If you have Amazon Prime, attach that to your Twitch account. You get 1 free sub a month. That's your Twitch Prime sub. I don't know about all of you, but I really do appreciate that support, and it's the only way it can succeed. If you want to have a left who's actually going to deliver change and actually win some fucking elections and actually fight back against the fascists, instead of just grift and float off of left-wing sentiment, this is the only place to be. Did you all watch Josh Johnson yet?
Donnie feels like to me is work from home. You remember work from home before the pandemic. Work from home, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. This place would fall apart as a business if we just let people work from home. There'd be no more business. Capitalism would fail. If we let people work from home, and then the pandemic hits, and then out of nowhere, everybody's working from home, and a lot of places seem to be staying open. They're even making some money. And you think back to that time in like 2019 when you asked if you could work from home, and they said no, and you were like, oh, so you're a liar. And that's what Mamdani feels like. It's like politicians could have been doing this stuff the whole time. It turns out, like, Mamdani gets in and he's like, oh yeah, there's just a button. You just have to press this button and then stuff gets done. I don't know why nobody was pressing it before me. It's not like I'm some once-in-a-generation politician. I just saw the button and I pressed it, and the button was caring. It's like you press the do something button. If you press the care button, then something will happen. I don't know why nobody was doing this before. That's crazy. Everybody was acting like the button was in the middle of the earth. You would ask them for something that they promised you. They promised they would do this thing, and they'd be like, hey, look, we're going to get the kids school lunch, all right? Under my leadership, every kid's going to have school lunch. And then they would get in the office, you'd have the party, yay, school lunch is coming. And they'd be like, you're right, school lunch is coming. And then like 6 months into their term, you'd be like, hey, about that school lunch. And then the politician would be like, oh, okay, so you see, I tried, but it turns out children don't like to eat. Like, they would just... You'd be like, there's no way that's true. What?
Holy shit. I don't think so. Thank you for the time.
What are you talking about?
You know, I mean, like, legitimately, that's why the centrist Democrats hate them. They hate the left because they don't want the example. They don't want the power of a good example. Part of what makes the centrist Democrats work is the belief that the government, like, we can't really change things. That all we could do is head off worse. That we live in the best of all possible worlds. So they hate people like Zoran because he actually demonstrates some of the shit is just plain competence. They're entirely focused, exactly, Nexus, on managing expectations. They don't want you to believe that we can actually accomplish things with the government, because then you might actually demand that we accomplish things with the fucking government. All right, let's see if we've had any more drops, chat. Any more drops? Okay, no more drops. Okay, chat, let's see here. Who else gifted subs? Oh my God. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I really do appreciate it. Obviously, you know, it's been a little bit of a slower time in politics. You know, the sun is shining, so it is what it is. I appreciate all of you for sticking with me. California Gov, small drop. Yeah, that's only like 3,000 votes. Holy shit, Flimsy Fishy, Socialism or Barbarism, Snowflake Ninja, Soviet Cranberry, all you guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Steyer is cooked? Nah, he's not. He's got a good shot. The question is, how much more can he run up the score in the Bay Area? Especially, he's got half of San Fran still out, half of Marion out. He's still got more than half of Alameda out. He needs to do a bit better. Needs to do a bit better, especially in like LA. I expect the Sacramento numbers to change quite a bit as well. It's so funny how well he's doing in Alpine. How did I butcher Marion that bad? Steyer with 3,000, just under what he needs to be. I'd say I don't actually. I think it's just above. I think he needs to do about 14, and this is 14 and a half better net. So he's like at 11.2 over Hilton, but it's 14.5% better than the previous thing, which is about roughly on track. Oh, the turnout is continuing to climb, chat. Expected turnout is continuing to climb, which is exactly what Steyer needs, by the way. The more votes that there are, the less of a percentage he needs. That's very good news. Rumors are swirling that Joe Rogan is going to be replacing Anderson Cooper. Why the fuck would he take that job? Also, what? There's no fucking way. You guys are trolling me. You guys are trolling me. All right. Slurgo, thank you for the 10. Ladies and gentlemen, top sub gifter and the top bit donor get the Hype Train conductor badge. There's a lot of people working here. Paycheck from paycheck. Parents of young children. College students. People on a fixed income because of retirement or disability. Just regular people struggling to make ends meet. All right. I think like one of the things that's really weird about the Plattner Collins thing is he's winning. He's winning in the polls. And people are trying to spin that as bad because Collins outperformed polls in 2020. And that was a presidential year with Trump on the ballot. Or you know what I mean? Like it's a delusional type of like mindset. And there was ranked choice voting that ultimately there was a strong Green Party candidate and Collins managed to get over 50%. So the gap is bigger than it, like her overperformance in the polls is probably larger than it actually was because it wasn't a true head to head. And it's just nonsense. All right, chat. Gen Z, Hogwatch Gen Z edition. I gotta say that I am becoming a curmudgeon. I never thought I would see the day that I would be a curmudgeon, but I'm starting to get there. All right, chat. We have dropped a little bit again. We're at 5577 subs. I think Collins has spent all of her political capital with the voters of Maine. Being complicit with Trump 2.0 is going to cause everyone to jump ship. She won't outperform this time. She's unpopular. I just posted Truth Nuke. I just posted the Truth Nuke. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I'll pull it up. She is extremely unpopular. Her net favorability is -16 and his is +2. She is 18 points more unpopular than him. We'll save that. Well, I need to work on that. Silent Loggy, thank you for the 5. Terminal Brandonize, thank you for the 5. You guys are the best. And AOC's electability is positive as well. AOC is +5. The only reason it's not higher is she's not as well known as Bernie Sanders or Barack Obama. Rubio -16, Trump -21, Vance -24, Carlson -37, Jay Bush. Who the fuck are they? I don't know what Shaw. I think this is the guy running for something else, right? Jebediah Johnson Bush. Who the fuck is that? I guess he's running for like governor then. Like a guy named Jay Bush. All right, where was I? Oh yeah, who is King? It's Angus King. He's the independent senator from Maine. He kind of sucks. So I don't think Pratt's gonna make it. I think I'm living the hopium and the copium. I think I'm a Steyer head. I think I'm now on the Steyer. Like I think he might make it. I'm raising my percentage. Because turnout keeps climbing. I'm on the Cope Slop on the daily. Yeah. And by the way, it's not Cope Slop. It's just called math. Most of my detractors are very bad at that. Like they don't understand the whole like Senate math problem where we need Graham Plattner to win in order to stop Donald Trump. And there's no like, we need James Talrico. We need Plattner. We need Brown in Ohio. By the way, Sherrod Brown beat his wife. Like, is anybody talking about that? Is anybody talking about that? Does anybody give a shit? Although he didn't really beat his wife. I think he got like something happened. Domestic. It's like 20 some years ago. Like in his divorce, his wife said he did something. It's like, it's the scandal. Oh, fuck. It's like one of those things where he got accused by an ex-wife of like being physical with her. Yeah, during their divorce proceedings, Ritchie obtained a restraining order against Brown to keep him from harassing or annoying her and from doing bodily harm. In her supporting affidavit, she said she was in fear of her safety and well-being of myself and our children due to Brown's physical violence and abusive nature, and Brown had intimidated, pushed, shoved, and bullied her on several occasions. Years later, she walked back her claims of physical violence. See what I mean? Right? And like, obviously now she doesn't push that. But this is the kind of stuff that people that are willing to overlook this. They're not saying like, oh my God, he's clearly an abusive, evil piece of shit. They go, well, it doesn't really seem like there's a victim. You know, the victim recanted and it's old, right? It's 40 years old. So maybe he's actually not a bad guy after all. You know what I mean? Like people are able to, make sense of that and go, no, that's 40-year-old. It's not really credible. She walked it back. And they're able to like be sane, right? So why isn't this getting like pushed to everybody's face? I mean, you could argue it. All right, I wanted to watch this. We got distracted by other things. But Steyer stands literally 0 chance. That's not correct. That is objectively not correct. What you guys have to understand is the current results are indicative of an unrepresentative sample of the election. Left-wing people vote differently than right-wing people. Left-wing people vote late. Right-wing people vote early. It is an objective and measured phenomenon. And we have seen it time and time and time and time and time and time again. Sorry about this. The video was low. I'll turn it up. Sorry about the audio levels being off. That was my bad. We've seen it time and time and time and time again. Like, left-wing voters are going to be, so the types of ballots that are outstanding are going to be much more left-leaning, significantly so. And they're going to be more left-leaning in a universal way across the entire state. So they're going to be more left-leaning in Riverside. They're going to be more left-leaning in San Diego. They're going to be more left-leaning in fucking Alpine. They're going to be more left-leaning in the Bay. Like, that is, why is that? It's a personality quirk. Let's just say that maybe left-wing politics is more associated with what we call lower conscientiousness. Or we could say that they tend to be younger. There's personality quirks, traits, different things, right? We have working class, like more people who have jobs vote more left-wing, so they have more to do. Lower income, all sorts of factors. The only problem is that Steyer has to overperform with blue counties to make up for this. Becerra needs to fade a bit without ceding to the Hilton Delta, which he is. He has. Becerra has actually receded because the type of people to vote are going to be less likely Becerra. Becerra is not a good candidate. I mean, it is what. And here's the thing. I don't think Steyer is more likely to win, get on the ballot than not. But he's not dead. It's definitely a very let's just say Steyer making the top 2 is in the fat part of the curve. We're not on the tails. We're like here. Like, imagine a distribution. We're like this side. So, or like this side. He needs to get a little lucky, but not that lucky. Whereas Nithya, I think, is closing in on being like a coin flip.
Maybe we vote for Rahman and try and kick Bass out at the early part of the stage in this round instead of waiting for the runoff.
We'll look out to California.
Becerra versus Steyer matchup is at 28% on predicted. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
If we can here and switch to the governors.
And by the way, when Steyer wins and Nithya gets on, which I don't know, I don't know why. I've got the hopium in me today, chat. I'm gonna be saying I told you fucking so. I only trust Mike here because Mike was the only one pushing against Cope Slop. It's not Cope Slop, it's math. Now, I think Steyer I think it's like you need to get 2 heads in a row. How many times have you flipped a coin and gotten 2 heads in a row? It's pretty common. It's not like likely, it's not what you want, but it's not 0. I'd say about a fourth of the time, like, exactly. And I'll tell you if the odds get worse or they get better. They've been getting better. That's the thing. The odds of him making it have been getting better. Meaning, like, for example, turnout is going up. Turnout going up means that his percentage of the outstanding vote in order to pass Hilton goes down. Do you understand? So more turnout equals he doesn't have to perform as well to win because he's winning the outstanding ballots. I just flipped 2 heads in a row on my first try. Exactly.
Race there, which receives so much attention. Yeah. And
also, I think mentally, it's always good to live in hope. Here's the issue. He's down about 8.2%. That's a lot, but it's within the realm that has happened in the past.
Now, again, Steve Hilton, who is the Republican, in the lead. Javier Becerra in second. Tom Steyer in third. The key, of course, in California, it's the top 2 people in this election, in this primary election that advanced to November.
2 coins right now? Okay. I got heads twice in a row.
The other key.
I literally got heads twice in a row.
Live.
The fuck was I?
Key here is that only 56%.
All right, this video sucks. They don't know what the fuck they're saying. This is another story I wanted to show you guys. Bernie Sanders is pushing for the Chinese model of AI. And it's, Mike Zateo interviewed Avi. We'll watch that tomorrow.
Here in the Senate,
Chinese model!
Senator Bernie Sanders has just announced plans to introduce a new bill that would give the government a direct ownership stake in the largest American AI companies.
Guys, we're not getting a ban. Like, come on. What the fuck are you saying? We're not getting a ban. The entire capitalist class is on board for this. We're not getting a fucking ban. Unless we have a revolution. I'm just telling you, I don't want you to cope. It's going to be banned from the nice areas and pushed on marginalized people, the data centers at least. That's what happens with every industrialization in history. But what we can do is seize the means of production to prevent it all from going to Elon.
Sanders is my source tonight. And thank you, Senator, for being here. We see what the president signed today. Regarding your legislation, can you explain how this would work if the federal government owned half of these AI companies?
I think the concern all over the country about AI is that it is owned and directed by a handful of the wealthiest people in the world. Musk, Bezos, Zuckerberg, and those guys. And nobody believes that they have the welfare of the American people at heart. They want to get richer and even more powerful. So the question is, should we allow a handful of oligarchs to determine literally the future of humanity? AI is going to be the most transformational technology in the history of the world. So what my legislation will do are several major things. Number one, it says that because the foundation of AI is based on all human knowledge, all right, AI will absorb what this program is about. The 5 books that I read, all the poets.
New drop! Steyer just posted a very strong late battle batch in Santa Clara, improving to 14.6% against Hilton versus 6-2, up from 13.4% improvement in yesterday's drop. It's only one batch, so it's important not to overreact to a single release. We'll see what happens in LA tonight. This is what I was saying? 14.6. I think he needs around 14. That's the one that I already looked at. Somebody else did the math, so I got excited. Somebody else was doing math like me. For the first time in our lives, somebody else was doing math. I think the worst part of me is that I'm a commentator first, but I actually understand and do the math. But I don't really want to be the math guy. It's kind of boring and it's not fun. And I think I'm better at the voter psychology predictions as well, like combining the math with voter psychology. That's what makes me the best at it compared to everyone else. And is that immodest to me to say I'm best? Yes. But I unironically think that Hassan needs to lock the fuck in a little bit. He needs to lock the fuck in a little bit and learn a little bit of a poker face. It's his own state as well. Like, you should know that your state is stupid. It takes forever to count. I think it's like Shoykot got owned. Shoykot got owned. And the reason why Shoykot got owned is the same reason why I didn't endorse him early, because he didn't have local left-wing support. It's the same reason I wasn't excited about Kat. She didn't have local left-wing support. That she built it up. She ran an outstanding campaign, and I think Kat did great. To be honest with you, I think Kat is the most impressive carpetbagger I've seen in a while. Like, to do what she did at her age was fucking insane. Like, and I think she was really strong of a politician. I hope she doesn't become a grifter, because it's fucking stupid. Like, don't be a poster online. Go run again. Go run again. And when I'm saying these things, they sound mean, but they're just objective descriptions of what happened. And for some people, they think it's mean. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm like a cancer doctor. Me saying you have fucking metastasized isn't me insulting you. It's me talking about what happened. Mike, please forgive me, but video and top comment. Baby wildebeest. What the fuck are you showing me a wildebeest running from a lion for? What the hell are you doing?
The scientific work. That's what AI is about. Okay? People who contribute to that deserve some of the wealth that is being created. More importantly, we cannot allow just a handful of oligarchs to determine the future. If we have 50% of public ownership of these companies, we could say no to ideas that will lead to mass unemployment, invasion of privacy, endangerment of children's health, or maybe even an existential threat to the planet if AI becomes independent of human.
Why do you need to take control of them? Why can't you just regulate them, tax them as is currently?
Well, for two reasons. Number one, I think this is the most transformational technology in history, and it is based on human knowledge. So human beings deserve to be compensated for what they put into AI. Second of all, we need to determine the future. It can't just be a handful of billionaires. That's why.
I mean, when you look at this in terms of how this works, some of these companies might just see this and say, if this legislation passes, I'm just going to move my company to another country.
Well, that's the same, but that's what they're saying in California about a wealth tax. I mean, that's a whole other.
But you would have deciding power here. The government would.
Yeah, we decide. We think. I think, and I think most Americans agree, that the future of humanity should not be determined by a handful of the wealthiest people on Earth. That the public, in a democratic process, should have input.
Oh, chat, we've got ourselves French toast sticks. Fresh French toast sticks and fruit from Vio. I haven't had a French toast stick for a while. Their cook looks good. Thank you, Vio. I might need a fork. Oh, you brought me one. Okay, thank you. Thank you. You know, chat, we're winning. I know the energy lately has been more pugilistic than it should be, but this is the best. We are fucking winning. We're gonna do it. 6 years ago, we had maybe one or two people that we could pin our hopes on. Bernie Sanders, AOC, maybe, and then Ilhan, 2 other people. But now we're literally winning knockdown, drag out fights with AIPAC. Our position is the 75-80% of Democrats don't like Israel. We are literally changing the fucking world
into the way the world is going to move.
And also, you know, you talked about the American people deserving part of the profits from this, part of the money from this. The president has signed an executive order about creating a sovereign wealth fund for the United States. I mean, that's what you're suggesting here. The Trump administration also has equity stakes in, I think, more than 20 private companies. Right.
Yeah.
How is what you're doing different than what President
Trump
is doing?
It is radically different. And by the way, the idea of a sovereign wealth fund is not a radical idea. As you know, Norway has a fund based on their oil revenue of over $2 trillion.
But from the revenues.
From their revenues.
They don't have a controlling stake in the actual companies.
Right.
What? That's
and
wrong.
Alaska, by the way.
Yes, they do. It's a state-owned company, you dumbass. It's a state-owned company. What the fuck? What the fuck are you saying? About Equinor. I'm pretty sure this is owned by the government. Oh, wait, isn't it? Isn't it? Oh, did they private? No, they didn't privatize it, did they? No, is it owned? Oh, the Norwegian state share of the company after the merger was initially 62.5. In 2009, it was announced the Norwegian government had reached its goal of obtaining 67%. They own the fucking company. She's stupid. Now there's publicly that's what Bernie's calling for. Yale researchers have noted that decisions by Norwegian government tend to be more focused on long-term sustainability, while public shareholders make decisions more focused on immediate economic gains. Since the Norwegian government has a majority share, this has generally resulted in Equinor's corporate policies and actions favoring long-term stability. What is she saying? What the fuck are you saying, you stupid piece of Why does she say no, they don't when they fucking do? Fact check this. Why is she fact checking wrong shit? I'm actually losing my mind. Bernie Sanders, you need to be better than that. Don't let her say no when she's wrong. Jesus Christ. Why does she say shit? You're fucking wrong.
The state of Alaska also has a sovereign wealth fund where they distribute money based on oil revenue as well. But oil is a natural resource, and so is human labor. All of the contributions that humanity has made into AI deserves to be compensated, and people deserve to get that wealth redistributed back to them.
But is this an area where you see agreement with the president?
Well, the president says a whole lot of stuff. I happen not to trust much.
But I'm talking about sovereign wealth fund.
The concept of a sovereign wealth fund is not a radical idea. It exists, I think, there are at least 100 of them around the world. Again, bottom line is people have the foundation of AI is the knowledge that human beings have contributed. We deserve to be compensated. Second of all, we need to put brakes on AI when it leads to mass unemployment, endangering children's health, etc.
You know, when you look at this, if this plan existed right now, if this legislation went through and passed, you know, what you have described, this technology that you've said as a threat to everything the American people hold dear, I believe was your exact quote. I mean, the president and Republican majorities would have deciding factors in these companies.
That's true. But on the other hand, that is democracy. And I hope very much that President Trump and the Republicans will not be in power for that much longer. But at the end of the day...
But I'm just saying, if it passed tomorrow...
All right, so the question is, do we want democratic control, or do we want Mr. Musk and a handful of billionaires to make those? I prefer the democracy, where people still can have impact on Republicans, on Mr. Trump. You can't have that impact on the CEOs of these large corporations.
Sam Altman is going to be in Washington, I believe, tomorrow. He's got meetings lined up, I know, at the White House, I believe with some of your colleagues. Are you going to be meeting with him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And are you going to talk to him about your legislation? Who set that meeting up?
He did.
And do you think it was...
Sam Altman is like the thing about the AI guys is they always go like, you know, we got to do some like UBI. We need to have like a social democracy in America. And then they go and they fund all the right wingers who are against it. So they publicly say this shit, but then they politically work against their own words.
Because of this?
Who knows?
What are you going to say to him?
What am I going to say to him? I'll say to him tomorrow what I'll say to him. But I mean, what we will discuss is the need for a moratorium so that we can have a democratic debate and discussion about the future of AI. We'll talk about that. We will talk about the need for international cooperation so that we do not have a super intelligence, super AI created, which can escape human control.
I'm just wondering what he's going to say when you, I mean, in your video announcing your legislation, you said the time has come to reclaim what has been stolen from us.
Yes.
Since AI is built on the collective knowledge of humanity, the wealth it generates must also benefit humanity, not just Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos.
That's right.
Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison. You didn't name Sam Altman there, but I assume he's in that category.
Put him in, yeah.
I mean, how do you think he views you saying reclaim what was stolen from us?
Well, I don't know how he will respond. That is my view. That is the foundation of AI. Your program is going to be part of AI. This discussion.
Yes, exactly. They literally illegally downloaded like entire libraries and fed them in there. They did a whole bunch of like seeding of torrents and like stole all sorts of like movies and films and musical performances and books. Like all it shows, like that's all what's trading AI. It's literally based on stolen IP.
Is part of AI. Do you think the people in the world who contributed, who created, in a sense, the knowledge that is AI, deserve to be compensated? I do.
You know, people might watch this and think that's a really radical idea in terms of the government having this ownership stake in this. But I mean, we haven't seen a ton of criticism from Republicans for the president taking these stakes that they've taken in more than 20
Well, I
companies.
think, look, AI is so consequential and so transformational that I think the American...
okay. I think a lot of young people, a lot especially left, you know, there is I'm going to say it again, most controversial take. It's going to piss people off, but it's a blue sky liberal shibboleth to be very anti-AI, right? Like to make being anti-AI your entire personality is very blue sky liberal, which is, it's not that it's wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong to be skeptical of the way AI is being done in the United States. You're dead right. But I think Bernie Sanders' idea of giving us control over it and ownership over it is a very good strategy. Even if AI ends up being fucking overblown in a bubble and it doesn't end up being as disruptive, I think it's prudent to have the precautionary principle because they're going to take money and subsidies from us. We should own this motherfucking thing. There's definitely a lot of blue sky liberals posting AI anti-Trump memes. Nah, I think that's like boomer liberals. I have the same opinion of AI as the Chinese Communist Party does, which is seems like a promising technology. You know, probably should be investing in it to make sure that we unlock whatever potentialities it has. But as far as society, human beings have rights and to a increasing standard of living. And so AI is not going to make people impoverished. It's going to be used as a tool. Like that seems to be their opinion. Like, whereas in the US, it's like there's the opinion is, oh, it's going to like destroy us because people aren't going to be able to have a job. The goal of society is that we all don't have any jobs. The goal of society should be to live in fucking Star Trek world where we do whatever the fuck we want and we focus on improving ourselves and exploring the universe and creating arts. And, you know, we live in abundance. Like that is actually the dream. The dream is not to have a fucking job I have to grind at. I don't want to have to make, if I'm an artist, I don't want to have to make corporate logos all day to make money. That sucks ass. Am I crazy? The global tragedy is the AI technologies being developed by the world's superpowers to bypass the physical labor of third world countries. AI, or rather these extensive algorithms, have been around for very long. The backlash came from generative AI slop, which was largely pushed out to consumers by finance capital because of this bubble. But materially having big data and intelligently made algorithms in theory is good. But like you said, seasons and the means of that should be the goal. I mean, of course, this is basically like what we're really imagining is the Star Trek holodeck and the Star Trek computer. You guys know what I mean? Like what's really wrong is our intellectual property regime. Like I should be able to go, hey, computer, blah, 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 music, and it plays, you know, the music. Like I shouldn't have to be connected to 8 different streams of rentierism and licensing. Digital, we have the ability to reproduce things instantly and basically costlessly. It should be available to everybody. Do you remember the pirate parties of the early aughts? The idea of like, we need to reimagine the intellectual property regime now that we have the ability to digitize art. That only doesn't work because we live under capitalism. And unless you have a job that pays good money, you don't get to live. There's such like I don't know, man. Like, again, I'm not defending the AI companies that exist. I want all of them arrested, and I want, but Bernie Sanders saying we should own all of them. We should own a majority stake in all the companies. That's a good fucking idea. It's a practical idea. It's a good idea, and it should be implemented immediately.
American people are sitting back and saying, wait a minute. We cannot just allow these guys to re-alter society. We have got to have some input in that. And you're seeing that, Caitlin, right now all over this country in terms of opposition to data centers. And I think clearly a significant part of that opposition is people don't want to pay higher electric bills. They're worried about the noise, the environmental impact. But I think in the back of people's minds are saying, hey, are my kids going to be able to have any jobs? Are my, is my daughter going to be hooked up to some AI bots in an emotional relationship? Are millions of jobs going to be wiped out? People are very worried about AI. They want some input into how it unfolds in the future.
So Sam Altman will be on Capitol Hill tomorrow. You'll be meeting with him. We'll see what happens there.
Oh, God, here we go.
Your voice, your vote. A major primary night across the country with voters heading to the polls in 6 states. There are still several high-profile races we're watching this summer, especially in Michigan.
God, their primaries are so fucking late,
Michigan used to be a solid blue
damn.
state, but it went to Trump in 2016, Biden in 2020, then Trump again in 2024. And it's no Michigan used to be a solid blue state, but it went to Trump in 2016, Biden in 2020, then Trump again in 2024. And it's no exaggeration to say that the Michigan Senate race could determine control of Congress in November. My next guest says that we can do better, though. Matter of fact, that's the theme of his tour, where he'll talk to voters in cities and towns that flipped from Biden to Trump 2 years ago. Joining me now is Abdul El Sayed, Democratic candidate for the Senate in Michigan. Abdul, I might be having some audio problems, so can you hear me?
I hear you just fine. You hear me out?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much. I was hearing music in my ear, and I didn't know if you had your radio going, getting ready for this segment, or it was a technical problem. So we are good to go. Nice to see you.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, you are on this tour that you are calling the We Can Do Better tour. You have been talking directly to Michigan voters who flipped from Biden to Trump. Tell me why they did it. What did they tell you? And how are you going to win them back?
So this is above and beyond 101 different cities that we've been to. And no matter where I go, people just tell me it just shouldn't be this hard. Shouldn't be this hard to afford a second bag of groceries. Shouldn't be this hard to pay your rent or believe you could own a home if you're under 40 or stay in your home if you're over 65. Shouldn't be this hard to work the same job tomorrow you worked yesterday. And it should not be this hard to see a doctor. And Michigan voters are sick and tired of getting two versions of a corporate-backed politics that tells us that the best we can do is sell off our politicians to corporations who always rig the system against us. We pay more for what we got to buy, get paid less for what we got to do, watch our tax dollars get misappropriated abroad to drop bombs on other people and their kids, rather than invest in our kids here at home. We've got an opportunity here to think beyond that. I want to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all. My background is as a public servant in public health, putting glasses on kids, taking on corporate polluters, protecting kids from lead in the water, eliminating medical debt. We can do better, but it takes thinking past the politics around a system that has our politicians answering to corporations instead of the rest of us, and we can do better.
Well, a lot of people are blaming Trump. They're blaming Trump for this war with Iran, which is leading to high gas prices, and then that's contributing to a struggling economy. So what are you going to do specifically? Let's start with bringing down prices.
Well, first, they should blame Trump, but they should also blame the system that created it. Trump exploited a system where he was able to point to obvious problems in people's lives and then blame somebody else who doesn't look like you in a different part of town around those problems. So there are real solutions that we really can take on to bring prices down. Think about buying meat at a grocery store. There are 4 meat packers that control, 70% of the entire market, and they use algorithms to collude to raise prices against us. We have antitrust policies on the books, we just don't enforce them, and I think we could start there. I also think that they tell us, we don't have money to provide better health care for people. Well, we do. We just spend that money in the form of a war we should not be fighting abroad, and we cut taxes on billionaires when I think we should be taxing them their wealth. And the most important way to protect people's wages is to allow them to form unions. And right now, those very same billionaires are opposing unions. I want to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, and I want to pass the PRO Act to make sure that you have their voting rights and that you can form a union anywhere in any sector in American life. Those are things that would both raise your wages and keep prices low so that you could finally get ahead in America.
Okay, I do want to just add one more thing, because yes, a lot of people are blaming Trump for what's going on with Iran and gas prices, et cetera. But also, I made the point that in your state that Democrats flipped to Trump because they weren't happy with the Democrats. So what is going to make you so different from, you know, Biden and other Democrats?
You know, sometimes I get frustrated with my own party too. And that's because I'm the only candidate of the four of us running for U.S. Senate, Democrat or Republican, who's never taken a dime from a corporation to run a campaign and never will. That means that rather than answering to a corporation, a utility corporation or an insurance corporation who wants to raise prices on you, I answer to the people. That makes me very different. I'm the only one also running to guarantee you health care through Medicare for all, the only one who's willing to have the courage to say that we need to abolish ICE. I'm also the only one who's worked in the bowels of government to actually get stuff done for people. So I'm not your average Democrat. You talk to the Democratic establishment, who Chuck Schumer wants, he wants either of my other two opponents, not just me. So that should tell you a little bit about where I stand relative to the rest of the establishment in my own party. But I think Democrats, true to our ideals, can have our party back and have a party that actually delivers on these promises that we've been making for years, only to watch corporations come and steal Democrats' soul by buying them off. I don't play that game, so I'm going to show up and actually fight for everyday people.
You know, you're...
By the way, chat, medical doctor, Rhodes Scholar, massive public health experience, anti-Zionist. Where's all the pro Abdul videos? I must have missed all the pro Abdul videos. Where's the FD signifier vote for Abdul? Not a white man. Where's the pro Abdul video? Maybe it's out there and I missed it. Where is the pro Abdul videos from Cavernacle? Where's the pro Abdul videos for Bada Padada? Where's all these grifters that talk about Plattner every day? Where are the pro Abdul videos? Where's the pro Claire videos? FD doesn't make electoral videos, though, does he? He just did. I don't know if you saw it, but it's pretty odd to only talk about one campaign. Like, it says something that you'll want to talk about politics in order to run down an anti-Zionist, and that's the only thing you talk about. That's odd. Either you're an electoral commentator or you're not. Why are you dipping your toe in just to make videos attacking anti-Zionists? I searched Cavernacle's transcripts last week and he had 16 videos mentioning Plattner and 1 mention of Abdul ever. You need to stop lumping FDA with literal grifters. It's disingenuous. I'm not doing that. I'm not lumping him in. I'm just saying that it is odd to be anti-Plattner. I'm calling out people for being anti-Plattner. I think if you're being anti-Plattner, it's actually embarrassing. I think it's actually embarrassing. Unless something really emerges that's fully criminal. All the scandals right now are he was a veteran. 7% of veterans, 7% of Americans have a negative opinion of veterans. 7%. Oh, he had a Reddit account. The Reddit account is fucking tame compared to, like, there's no instances of him using slurs or being a Nazi. It has him saying some dumb shit that I don't agree with, but it's relatively fucking tame. And there's a lot of based shit in there. And the like sexing scandal doesn't even involve a physical affair. This is not even a thing. This is like a non-politician's internet behavior before he was a politician got leaked. It's not even a thing. It's all manufactured and it's garbage. Actual nothing burger. And it doesn't, and to, you know, posture as if it's some sort of sign that he's bad, even though he's consistently one of the strongest advocates on the anti-imperialist positions we need. It's fucking weird. It's weird to pretend he's like some sort of bad guy. It is fucking weird. It is. And it is. The math is the math. We have to win the Senate to stop Trump. We have to. And we are in the border of a literal fascist takeover. Don't you see the war in Iran that could easily kick off into an invasion, into some sort of disaster? Don't you see what he's doing to Bolivia? Don't you see what he's doing in Honduras and Ecuador and Cuba and Venezuela? Wake the fuck up. Like, what are you doing? We have to get the Senate. This is not a joke. Like, and the map is the math is the math. It is what it is. You think the most powerful superpower in the world should not have anybody who's pro-Palestinian in it? You're fucking insane. Abdul had no skeletons, so influencers don't need to talk about him. The reason why Abdul got big is because Hassan campaigned with him, which gave him algorithmic relevance because people talk about Hassan all the time. Unironically, he needed the scandal of working with Hassan in order to get popular. Because you fucking grifters don't care about politics, but you talk about it every fucking day. And it's crazy. It's fucking nuts. And why do you guys consume this slop? Why do you consume this slop? I don't know why you guys consume that slop. Get this shit. Watch real content creators that actually are trying to have skin in the fucking game. And everybody who's making anti-Plattner content right now is grifting you. They are fucking grifting you. I'm sorry. It's true. It is what it is. And a lot of people are now intimidated from even saying this fact, but it is a fact. It's not about morals. It's not about like punishing the American empire. It's not about like demonstrating some sort of like moral uprightness. This guy is the anti-Zionist candidate during a current genocide. What are we saying? It is fucking disgusting. Is there a genocide in Palestine? Everything, like, it's just that simple. I unfortunately have to say no. This is, ladies and gentlemen, like, it is what it is. Did you ever watch Walls with Bashir? Should I afford those former IOF guys feeling bad about the 83 Lebanon war, the same forgiveness I already gave Platter? I think I will just dislike him, but encourage people to vote for him because that's the best there is. Bro, you're comparing literally apples and oranges. Like literal apples and oranges. I'm not asking you to forgive Custer here, okay? Those are active settler colonial states in a colony currently. Like, what are we saying? Like, what the fuck are we saying? You missed 10 gifted. Oh, thank you, by the way. Mo to roll up. Thank you for giving 20 gifted subs. And Maoist Groit, thank you for the 10. You're the best. You guys are the best. And I'm saying this, like, the reason why I'm saying this is, like, I need you guys to get this out. I need you to get it out. I need to pound in your head that it's, like, you gotta grow up, man. You gotta grow up. Like, we don't have the ability to, like, not go all in to defend anti-Zionists because they're got all the Zionists are coordinated. This is what you don't get. The Zionists are coordinated. They defend each other. They work with each other. They fight the enemy of the Zionists. All the Zionists are attacking Graham Plattner no matter what party they're in. They're united in attacking him. For who? Susan Collins. They're not confused. Why are you confused? Why do you think you can stand aside as he gets attacked? You're creating a philosophy of, I'm going to pick and choose when to fight the Zionists. I'm going to wait for the perfect victim to fight back. There is no time for this shit anymore. And by the way, even if Israel isn't your number one issue, name an issue. Name something you care about. And there is not one thing where Susan Collins winning would be improved. Not one thing. And I'm asking for you guys to like understand that we are in a war. And just relying on like this grifting mentality of like, I'm going to hold myself out as this very left-wing guy. It's like, no, you're left-wing of what? I get fired up because I just like, I need discipline. I need like logic.
All of you have
God. It's like, is there a literal single fucking actual job here? Every single one of these jobs is a bullshit job.
60-year-old black-owned public.
I am a barista at a local coffee shop in Ackworth, but apart from that, I own my own coffee cart pop-up.
I am a manufacturing company. I founded it last year, and we sew and design.
Oh my God, we have an actual company. How do I support this?
Our own clothes in-house.
47% of U.S. adults believe economic conditions.
Barista was like the second most real job in that list. Dude Control, thank you for the 10 tier ones. And by the way, I'm saying that as a streamer.
And 73% say they're getting worse, according to a recent Gallup poll. Another survey found nearly half of Gen Zs and millennials live paycheck to paycheck, while 34% struggle to cover monthly expenses. But juggling multiple streams of income or launching their own business hasn't been easy, especially for Caleb, who started selling boutique products but had to pivot to handmade clothing because of rising costs.
When those tariffs went into place, I thought I could handle the differences, and by the time I was getting product and my customers were buying it, I was basically back at minimum wage. So I had to pivot very fast. I spent some of my last extra money on a sewing machine, and from there made my jump into making the clothes. One of the girls who had bought an original pair was like this huge TikTok affiliate. And she received the shorts, she loved them so much, and within, she got them in a few weeks, and she posted them, and then boom, TikTok, 500,000. I've had 2 brick and mortar stores in the past. How do I reach 500,000 people in one video at a brick and mortar store? So that dynamic, as a business owner, I had to make a decision.
What did you do with your physical stores?
I sold the first 2, and I just ended my lease on my 3rd one, actually so it was quite the adjustment, but 95% of my sales were online.
I want to do a little rapid fire. So in one word, how would you all describe the job market right now?
Dynamic.
Underpaid.
Exclusive.
Stagnant. Honestly, difficult.
Competitive.
How would you describe the economy in one word?
Frightening.
Confusing.
Trying. Unknown.
Tragic.
Why tragic?
Well, I feel like the economy is just...
Mike, you missed an MR rate. Oh my God, MR rate. Thank you so much. Hey, majority reporters. I was just doing a rant about Graham Plattner, about how we need to get our shit together, and we need to push back against the grifting. We need to push. This is my take, and feel free to argue against me. I want to hear your guys' opinion. Graham Plattner, like the map is the map. The math is the math. If we want to stop Donald Trump, we have to win Maine. We have to win Maine. We have to win Texas. We need to win Iowa. We have to win all over this country. And North Carolina, we don't have any space for this kind of bullshit. And the fact is, he's better than almost any other Senate candidate on policy. And yet people are trying to pretend like there's some sort of like they're gonna sit out as he gets attacked. And all these bad faith attacks about basically nothing burgers have all been because he's an anti-Zionist, and they're trying to make an example of him. And the Zionists of the Democratic Party and the consultants of the Democratic Party are playing along with the right-wing smears for Israel. Let's not be confused. And so if you consider yourself an anti-Zionist, you must speak out. You just have to. You have to defend him because he's being attacked for his anti-Zionism. And I can tell you, the Zionists are coordinated. They're not confused. You don't hear Zionists attacking Zionist candidates. They say stay silent at the very least. So why does our anti-Zionist movement have no discipline, have no solidarity, have no comradeship? We want to nitpick Graham Plattner and find an excuse to hang back. I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's acceptable.
I feel like everything, inflation has gone up really high up right now. The prices keep going high. There's like,
we're currently watching Gen Z talk about the economy.
Tariffs is just hurting my personal business.
We went to college off of the golden ticket dream. You get a college degree and now you have a golden ticket to a job and a career and, life and liberty and prosperity and all those things. And that's just not true anymore.
I hadn't really been supported in that area to go to college, by my parents. So I just didn't go. And then I'm grateful for it because I was able to kind of
I dropped out. I was accepted into Harvard Business Online. And after spending the money, I was seeing this content and this language and these classes and syllables and courses have been best.
As I'm not in Maine, I will certainly defend Platter when it comes up, but my energy needs to be on the good candidates where I am. So true. So true. That being said, I personally consider if somebody is an online content creator who talks about politics for entertainment and they spend their time attacking Graham Plattner, I consider them a grifter. Like, you're allowed to just be like, vote for him. I'm not really a big fan of him. But if you're in Maine, vote for him, and then you go and talk about something else, that's fine. But if you're like doing anti-Graham Plattner content consistently, I consider you a grifter. Like, personally. Like, and I'm not, and that's like my decision. Like, I'm not gonna back off from that.
Learned outside of the classroom. It didn't have enough substance to make a change.
Speaking of the cost, though, do you feel like it's worth it for most people to spend that much money?
No, to be completely honest. I was extremely fortunate and I had help from my family to put me through optometry school. But if I had to take out loans for every bit of tuition and everything, no way I would have been able to start a business.
I actually look at it, the 4-year those people, it would take them 10 years to the ability to be around international people, the idea that they can go overseas and you can get it a lot quicker when you go to college and out in the outside world.
So what's your why? Why did you need to start your own company or find a side hustle?
I needed a job.
I found that with my experience in public relations, I wasn't really able to get the salary corporate job that I wanted. And so I started my business so that I can have a portfolio of work that I could be proud of and that I could utilize to get position.
I honestly feel like I would fly through the old economy. Like it would be clockwork for me, like making money, paying bills. I feel like it would be really easy because the pressure that I'm put living in Atlanta to survive in this economy is so hard.
So if there was someone who said, young people are lazy, they're not willing to.
I was gonna say.
What's your response to?
So that focused generation, like the young generation, the half that is focused, they have a ton of work ethic. They have business acumen. They're thinking about things that are in the now and in the future, and they're ready to do whatever it takes to get there. But then there is the other half of young people who don't have work ethic, who are a little bit lazy, whose parents worked really hard to create the foundation for them. And with that working hard, they now kind of hate their young person. So their young person is sitting at home with not any bills or responsibilities.
I think work ethic looks different than it used to look. My grandfather, he got up in the morning and, you know, he got his kids together. He went into his fields because he owns land. And then he also worked a job at a factory. My father, he got up at 4:30 every morning because he had to be at his job where he was a flight line mechanic, where he fixed planes, and then in the evening he would go and he would fix people's air conditionings and heating systems. And me, I wake up at 5:30 every morning, but I'm on the phone and computer and writing and doing things all day. So I'm not doing the same type of work that my father and grandfather were, but I am doing extraordinarily a lot of work and multitask and doing a lot of things.
I agree that it's just different. My parents worked extremely hard.
You know, my parents, they were lazy as fuck. They were lazy as fuck boomers, and the lazier they were, the better they did. Their white skin carried them. Like, what do you expect people to say? Like, what the fuck do you expect people to say? No, my parents became rich because they're white. Like, why do we even go through this fucking stupid bullshit? Like, why do we waste our time? I don't understand why we waste our time with this kind of, like, preamble. Why people feel the need to say this stuff. It's embarrassing. I don't get it.
I work hard as well, but the way that it looks is much different. My mom was a dentist, owned her own practice, took care of me and my dad, and I do not know.
Stay-at-home dad? I thought, wait, he worked hard, I thought. So is he a stay-at-home dad? Or did he work? I mean, I guess being a stay-at-home dad is hard work and everything. I'm not trying to attack homemakers. I'm just being like, I don't think that, I think a lot of people would be like, if they looked at a family that had a stay-at-home parent and they were not making ends meet, everybody would yell at them that they should get a job, right? Because the reproductive labor of the homemaker is uncompensated, and our society loves that.
How on earth she did all the things that she did, because I physically could not do it. But on the flip side, I'm doing a lot of other things that she wasn't doing too for her. So it's just different.
Dentists have probably the strongest lobby of any medical professional in the entire country. Somebody got mad at me for saying this in the past, but dentists are pretty consistently considered to be the most overpaid medical practitioner. And it's honestly kind of weird that we have a specialist for just teeth, when obviously it's part of, like, our teeth are part of a whole digestive system and the tissues of the mouth and nose. It's really an artifact of our Victorian era divisions of, like, barbers and fucking surgeons and you know, having dental work done by, like, other people, and, like, you know, dentistry probably, you know, and they overcharge, and there's an extremely strong cartel, and it's extremely expensive, and they're highly compensated. And I'm not saying that to attack dentists. I love dentists. I think dentists are fucking awesome. You know, I wish everybody had the right to quality dental care, but, like, goddamn, they have a strong lobby and they get paid well.
I feel like there's someone to hold accountable for the economy.
I'm an anti-dentite.
Right,
I am conservative leaning, but I definitely don't agree with everything that this administration. Fingers are being pointed at the government and the administration because people are expecting relief. We're all battling for the same resources, you know, at the end of the day, it's just scarce out here, and we're fighting about it. You know, we're not necessarily sharing it.
I would say I lean more, pretty much just based off my views on immigration, LGBT rights. I don't think we're, like, you know, they're really helping us as small business owners with what they're doing currently.
I've always leaned more conservative, but agreeing with what she was saying, I don't agree with what's going on right now, but I didn't agree with what was going on with the previous political party as well. So I felt like we were kind of choosing between two bad choices.
Do y'all feel like the American dream is still attainable or a goal? The house, maybe kids?
I almost feel like I want to gear towards self-sufficiency and gardening, and make sure when I get property, I'm going to be able to have a garden and, animals and supply myself these needs. I feel like that's the new American dream, is getting out of that that circle of
Go.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah.
Do.
And
Beep.
I think that's kind of the opposite of what we need to be doing as a society.
My stepdad did his when he came to Mexico because he wanted to do a landscape, and he's an owner of that. So I think that's, the beauty in like the American dream is that you choose what you want to do and you do it, you work hard. You'll find success if you put your own, just love, uniqueness to it.
I think the American dream looks in the ability to decide what do you want is the American decide how you. I think that's still alive. I think we're all proof of that because and it's not attached to us, to get out there and be able to.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate all of you. Don't forget we have the reaction podcast, new episode. This week, I believe we're going to be doing something on Joe Rogan. So go check out the reaction podcast. We've had Sam Cedar. We've had Matt Lieb. We've had Hassan Piker. Incredibly good. Go check that out. Go subscribe. I would really appreciate it. This week will be the GOAT, Alex Jones. Solidarity forever, my friends. I will see you all soon. I'm going to send y'all over to who's alive right now. Who's live and alive? Hasbin Gold is live. Rob's live. Here, you know what, chat? I'm going to send you to the mothership. All right, everybody. Stay safe. Solidarity forever. That's how socialism wins. And I'll see you all very, very soon. I would happen to have any explanation of why my Patreon County podcast channel isn't wording. I'm always receiving your free stories while I'm quite certain I paid. I think you need to pay $5 or the $6 tier or whatever. All right, everybody. Stay safe. I'll see you soon. Solidarity forever. I love you all. Free Palestine. Here's all my links. And we will be here tomorrow. We just keep winning.